listening to the Mountainside Podcast, and joining us in studio for this episode is Jason Lee. He's a king of the streets, underground fighter, recently winning a bout at an undisclosed, secretive fight location. This peek into an underground of fighting at truly its purest form is jaw-dropping. Jason is one incredible human being with an incredible story. It was hard to fit into our 3-hour-plus long conversation. Listen, I don't even really know what to say at this point. Please listen to this episode from start to stop. It was an incredible conversation. Enjoy the episode. Jason Lee, king of the streets. Ecstatic to have you in here because you introduced me to a fascinating world that I didn't even know about a week ago.
Yeah.
And shout out to Chris Camozzi for also making that introduction.
Absolutely.
Man, we have so much to talk about. First of all, first and foremost, thanks for making the trip up here.
Yes, sir.
And it's really nice to meet you, brother.
Right on, man.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
We've been hanging out for about 45 minutes. I was like, okay, fuck it. We got to hit record like right now before we talk about any more
Right.
or watch anymore or do any of that. So I was telling you before we hit record, I watched the UFC this past weekend, Dustin Poirier. You sent me down a rabbit hole on Friday of a world that I didn't even know existed. And the best way that I can explain it to the general public that might not know what King of the Streets is, or it goes by K.O.T.S, right?
Yes, sir.
Fight organization. If you've ever seen the movie Fight Club, it's pretty much exactly what it is, but even on a bit more of a underground promotion professional scale. When I went down this rabbit hole, I was fucking literally shocked. Honestly, Chris made the introduction by sending me that photo of yours on Instagram. Tyler, pull that up real quick. And it's, I mean...
Is it on K.O.T.S?
Go to Jason's Instagram. It's pretty far down at the bottom. This is a for real life fight club, but it's more of like a in the movie Fight Club, it was kind of like a men's club, right? Yep. There wasn't a whole lot of spectators there unless you were fighting, right? Like kind of that movie scene. But this is, you have full on spectators. It's a total underground fight league. Just talking to you a little bit, you don't know where you're going, when you're going, kind of type of thing. It's a secret society.
Absolutely. Yep. That's best way to put it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure it out as well. But yeah, that's the easiest way to put it.
So we're definitely going to dive into that heavily, but there's so much more to your story and what kind of led you to this moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me getting to know you the last couple days. So we're going to try to unpack it all, man. And if we don't, we're going to have you back multiple times, I'm sure too, because you got a lot of stuff going on, it sounds like, coming up. But yeah, this is the photo that Chris introduced me to you with. He was like, hey, do you have any interest in having my buddy Jason Lee on? And sent me this photo. And I was like, is this him? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, which one is he first off? And then I immediately went down the rabbit hole. And when I did start going down the rabbit hole, you know, I've seen some wild shit. I've seen some wild shit in some third world countries. I have never seen, and I've seen some wild street fights, but normally when you're in a street fight situation, or the street fights that I've been in, it's typically in a dark alley. You can't really see much. There's not professional lighting and professional cameras taking photos of it. It's there's a lot of chaos. There's no playback. Or when I was a kid, people weren't recording it on their cell phones. Right? We still had the Nokia bricks, you know, and it's like, fuck, did I lose my phone in the alley? Or, you know, like,
yep.
So it was a really like thank God there was no cameras, because maybe I would be incarcerated, you know, by now. But it was just, and everything happened so fast. And then also I saw so many people that there's so many people out there that, and I'm sure it's changed a lot, but in the 90s when I was growing up, like you grew up kind of the same era. I'm 45.
Yeah, I'm 46.
Yeah. So we're right there, bro.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a different era, man.
Generations.
Yeah, it was like, there wasn't a whole, like, it was hard to go find a Brazilian jiu-jitsu gym and guys that trained your size. I mean, I wasn't even doing it then. So like, I just feel like the bar scene is so different now, right? Compared to what it was in the 90s. So there was a lot of guys that I saw like you that had never been in a fist fight in their life and would talk mad shit and were built like a brick shit house, but didn't have a clue, and they'd get beaten up by a 110-pound dude that knew how to fight. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So it's
sir.
like you never knew. But nowadays, you don't know who the fuck anybody is. You know?
Yeah, they come up with it now. That's like one of the best parts about training kids, you know, is that they're born with it now. Whereas like our generation, we were still figuring it out. You know, we were maybe wrestlers and, you know, growing up, or maybe we had some karate. But then the rest of it, we had to fill it in if we were going to become a well-rounded MMA fighter or even a good street fighter.
Yeah.
So a lot of different things to look at.
It's wild, but the game has changed big time now. So I just think it's this is really fascinating to me because, you know, I've always said like the UFC is not a real fight. Like people that don't know or haven't trained or haven't been in a real street fight, or maybe even some guys that I just trained jiu-jitsu with, they don't know what a real fight is. They've never, most people don't have those altercations unless you're kind of looking for it, right? Like
I'm saying, I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and I've been a purple belt for like 10 years because I stepped away to do some kickboxing and focus on other aspects of the sport. Probably and I'm a huge fan of jiu-jitsu as a practitioner, as a sport, but I just want to say it's not a fight.
No.
They always say I have a jiu-jitsu fight every other weekend. It's not a fight. You know, it's a different rule set. It's a different mindset.
Well, I mean, we've had Scotty Miller in. I'm sure you're probably familiar with him, high-level coach. And even him, you know, with him being a practitioner and I don't know what degree black belt he is, but fucking more than a black belt, right?
Right.
He's the first guy to say, like, I would never recommend jiu-jitsu in a street fight, right? I mean, there are things that you can take from it, but the moment...
100%.
So I guess to bring it back kind of full circle, the environment that you're fighting in now with King of the Streets, it's as real as it gets, man. There's no fucking padded mats. There's no canvas. It's concrete, eye gouges, bites. I mean, it's as real as it could get, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's kind of what started my journey with it was... to be honest, I was just like you. I was sitting there one day down the YouTube rabbit hole, and you know, obviously different fights pop up and stuff like that. As a coach and a martial artist, I search a bunch of different stuff, and these started popping up. I'll just explain the story of kind of how it happened. You know, how it all started for me. So let's say 2-3 months go by, and I'm watching every fight that I could find on there, and one day one of the fights pops up, and my eyes, I know that guy. It was a guy that I knew. That I had trained with in the past, was on the internet already and doing it already. Hadn't seen this guy in 10 years training. I used to see him at the Grudge Training Center, 100 years ago, as we say. And about 2 weeks go by, and I'm at Vista from a regular workout on a Wednesday, whatever the hell it was, and I look up, and there he is, that exact same guy that I just saw on the internet that I hadn't seen in 10 years, and I'm like, this has got to be a sign, dude. So I approached him. I'm like, Leo, his name's
a sign from God or the devil, dude?
I don't know, man. But shout out to Leo Pla. Yeah. He's also King of the Streets alumni and
nice.
Kind of helped me along my way a little bit. But saw him at the gym and said, hey, man, I saw you on the internet, dude, and is this real? And what's going on here? And he gave me his very easy 2 cents on it, and we parted ways, and I'd seen him a couple times after that, and I started my journey in searching for that company. And it just kind of came to fruition after a lot of hard work and determination to find what I consider the purest fight possible.
It really is. I know we're going to dive into this more heavily, and we're going to transition here in a minute, but like the first question that comes to my mind is, could I do that if I had to? Do I want to do that? Fuck no. What was that, I guess, moment where you started pursuing it because you've been fighting so long and it is the purest form? Because it truly is if anybody wants to truly be tested, the UFC to me is a sport. There's so many rules, right?
Absolutely.
There's so many technicalities to it. There's so much training. There's so much nutrition. There's so much, all that sort of stuff that you take those guys out of the UFC. Obviously, they would have somewhat of an advantage in this, in the level of training and the amount of hours and physicality that they put in. But they also may have developed some bad habits by not biting somebody or not gouging eyes or not taking advantage of something or putting themselves in a jiu-jitsu situation on concrete with a concrete block behind them, like, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess
the example I would like to give just real quick
Yeah.
is I remember, again, a long time ago, I was training with Pat Barry, and him and Rose Namajunas had just came to Denver.
Yeah.
And, we finished a
shout
sparring
out,
session.
love those people. Yeah.
Absolutely. Real good people. Pat was a big mentor without even knowing it in my life. He's the guy that gave me so much mental confidence and physical confidence to do what I did, but we can get to that later,
Yeah.
But I remember somebody had just taken like a groin shot in training. Then complaining up a storm, took the allotted time off that we get in MMA for a groin shot, this and that. And at the end of the round or whatever, the sparring's done, Pat said, "Let me ask you a question." To whoever that guy was, doesn't matter. He said, "If groin shots weren't against the rules, would you still have stopped?" So it's a thought, right? Did you stop because it hurt and you legitimately needed that time off, or did you stop because it's the rules and you can go, and then you
Now
get
I can
5
catch
minutes.
my breath.
You got 5
Yeah,
minutes.
that's
right?
what's
Even if
happening.
We've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
The inside of the shot. They show the replay. Maybe it hit, maybe it didn't.
Yeah.
And we all know, guys that wear cups, shots are weird. We don't all know how it deflects or what junk goes what way. But if you just took that out of it, what are you going to do to survive?
Well, that's the thing, is people do this in life no matter what. You take advantage of the rules that are put in place. So whether it's collecting a welfare check or fucking getting kicked in the nuts and giving you 5 minutes to catch your breath so you have the advantage over a guy because maybe he's got better cardio than you. Right? Like, or even like Alex Bajeda, Poetan, he used it to his advantage. Who is it? Jamal Hill, right? Like, brushed the ref off.
Yeah,
And then Jamal claims he wasn't ready. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. The guy's got fucking touched death, but
absolutely.
but you can use it. It's part of the game now, right?
The whole resting, we spoke about it earlier. Just going into any fight with a mindset that I'm going to have a break in 3 or 5 minutes.
Right.
And I'm going to get water and get to go confer with my people for a minute and see what I did right or wrong, process what I can, and go back out and try it again. With King of the Streets, there's no rounds. When they say go, it's until it's done, which is, as we know now, is only by knockout, by tap out, or by referee stoppage to save that guy.
At least they have a referee stoppage, right?
Absolutely.
Because I think that would be another discrepancy between Fight Club was pretty much, it wasn't to the death, but it's also a fucking Hollywood movie that I'm comparing real fighting to, right? But it's the only way I can explain it, man. It's the only way I can really explain it, because it's the same sort of vibe. And then you throw all those people, like, if you're a spectator, you have to keep your identity hidden, right? 100%. While the cameras are rolling, which is smart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when you get there, it was, a very, very good vibe. But, you take your stuff just like you would in any other fight venue. For the fighters out there, is you find your corner, pull up your seat, get your gear ready, and just start getting your mind right. But the thing that changed it for me was that European techno. They had that building that we were in. It reminds me of maybe what the church would have been like in Denver back in the day, with the floor shaking, the walls shaking with this.
Yeah. When I was talking about street fights a minute ago, I had a few there.
I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
What are we doing in here? This got really different.
Wow.
But it definitely led to the vibe and the buildup of it all.
Yeah.
But
music's such a vibe. I mean, look what it does for walkouts,
I'm
Me
a big
being a music
person
guy.
too. Yeah, I am as well. I always fed off of music.
Absolutely.
Growing up.
In high school, we were listening. It was a ritual to listen to Cowboys from Hell from Pantera before we fucking went onto the football field.
Absolutely.
And guess what? In the first 5 minutes, people were getting smashed.
I've had people still to this day at the gym. They say, walk over, what are you listening to? Why?
Mozart.
Because you look like you are listening to some savage, something or other.
Right.
And I'm like you said, no, it's, Mozart or something simple,
Really?
So
Yeah.
I'm very different at the gym.
Really?
Because as more maturity, you know what I mean? I noticed that don't need to prepare myself to get ready for these type of things. Mm-hmm. I've now accepted that it's just right there under the surface. So bringing it out is very easy. Putting it back is even more easy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people struggle with that was, how do if I turn it on, I can't turn it back off. You hear the tough guy thing in the street.
That's bullshit.
I can't use the stuff I got because it's illegal. And it's like, no, it's not.
Anybody that starts telling you that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, first of all. The guys you got to worry about are the quiet guys that don't say shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's and are sitting in a corner.
I was nervous about coming here today. I'm
Were you?
When I'm comfortable, I'm around my friends. I'm the biggest shit-talking funny guy in the world, but...
Well, trust me, I don't want to put thoughts into your head, but you're going to leave here comfortable, man. You'll find out, this is as real as I get. I think that, at first, if you've never done this, I was nervous the first 50 that I did.
Right.
Especially, when I have a guy like you in or Ulysses or something like that, I don't want to piss you guys off. It could go viral, though, it could be good. No, but I'm pretty laid back. I'm pretty comfortable, and for me, I think just the honesty that this brings out and me knowing that I'm being recorded has made me be 100% honest because I don't want to slip up. Not that I ever lied before, but I really, cognitively, it's helped me in speech, in thought, and how I speak to people. Mm-hmm. And going back and listening to yourself and how much I interrupt people, it's still a habit that I have to fucking because I'm a big dumb guy. As soon as a thought goes into my head, I automatically I got to get it out before I lose it, so it's helped me as a person, but really there's a level of cognition you'll find after this. Is this the first podcast you've done?
Yeah.
Is it really? Dude,
absolutely.
Thank you for being on mine. Yeah.
No, absolutely, man. I guess you can only live a life like I've had or lived, endured that. People say, dude, you should write a book, bro. You should have something.
That was my automatic, I was going to bring that up to you.
Yeah, and with this, I'm old enough to say that I don't know anything about technology, so I'm learning, Instagram's brand new, and I'm like, okay, we'll start there, and, if it happens, then we get to get it out there. But
yeah,
I hope that people appreciate it. It's taken a long time for me all 46 years to get this whole life story together, and it's still growing. I love it. Yeah,
that's rad, man. It's a great outlook. One thing that's really cool about this in social media, and you being a guy that's kind of, most fighters that I know are ex-military guys or police officers. Most of the guys that I want to talk to are kind of the quiet professionals. They're pretty humble in what they do. It's not oh, look at me or look at this or look at that. And there are those guys out there. Those guys tend to be fake sometimes, or those guys tend to be the liars sometimes. Not always the case. But the cool thing that I've learned about this that I never really made the correlation when I started the podcast was how many people I've helped or my guests have helped just by telling a story. Mm-hmm. So a little bit nervous when Yuli came in. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit nervous with you coming in. It's the first time I've met you, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I would have that level of nervousness with most people, but also because of what you do for a profession, right? Mm-hmm. But I've known enough guys, and we have so many mutual friends that I'm not really that nervous today, right?
Yeah.
But when Yuli came in, I was a little bit nervous to talk to Yuli because he's got that gangster mentality, same sort of kind of mentality as you, it's a little bit different being with the Miami vibe and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Dude, me and him ended up crying during the podcast. Right. I was like, what the fuck? I never would have thought that would be the outcome.
Right.
Incredible human. We have an unbelievable bond today as a friendship, right? Mm-hmm. So it's really cool, man. And I think your story, just knowing the little bit that I do now, and I keep telling you to save it for this, so we're going to dive into it here right now.
Cool.
But I think you'll be shocked, and one of the things you'll learn, and I encourage you to do more of these podcasts, because it'll help you figure out some stuff about yourself, but truly, man, it helps other people to hear maybe where people have struggled with adversity or trouble in their life, and they can relate it, or they can learn from your lessons, man. I think that that's why podcasting has resonated with so many people, like, and the authentic ones like your Sean Ryans and Joe Rogans and, you know, all those heavy hitter podcasts. It's kind of the commonality is
absolutely
like being genuine, right?
The realness of it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are the guys I appreciate listening to.
Fuck yeah.
You know, and it's for me, the whole point of it is like just building up strong men, upholding other strong men,
Yes.
to uphold their community,
Accountability.
and their families,
Yeah.
and just, absolutely. If it's through inspiration or holding somebody accountable, that's the only way we're all going to get there.
Fuck yeah. All right. Well, we're already 20 minutes into this podcast. Awesome. We need to start at some point,
Absolutely.
but yeah, don't be nervous. If you do get nervous, man, just tell me how you feel, man. Like whatever you want. So if I pry too much, it's not an interview or anything, but I'm going to be asking a lot of questions.
I've been interrogated before. In this
right.
So, all right, I'll be okay.
Except I'm cooler, dude.
Right.
I do drugs every once in a while and drink a little bit. I get a little wild, right? You can't take the roadie out of a roadie. So
no, exactly.
So yeah, I guess you've spent quite a bit of time in Colorado. Born and raised here in Colorado, or
no? I was born in Danvers, Massachusetts. The blizzard of 1978. And I was born just after that. So I was August 1978. So I spent all of my childhood in New England, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts. And I came to Colorado, I was 15, maybe 14, about to turn 15. So I was right in there. My older brother had passed away in a motorcycle accident on a crotch rocket. And my family kind of fell apart after that. My mom and dad had already been divorced since before I can remember, and my mom ended up kind of losing her stuff after my brother passed. My dad was a little bit more held together, kind of, faked it, held it together the best that he could, and my mom sometime after that ended up passing away from drugs in life and rode the hard road as hard as she could until it was over. So mom passed away, I think, when my son was 4 years old, and he's 22 now. So, been a long time. But yeah, so a lot of my childhood in Massachusetts, as we know in our age, when divorces happen, I ended up with mom, even though looking back at it now, probably not the right thing to do, but that was the way it was. And mom was, had some mental issues, some bipolar issues, and drug addict, so on and so forth. And she liked to party, as we all know. It's gets a lot of people. So, yeah, I unfortunately had one of those moms, that when you're a bad kid coming home and trying to push things a little bit, I could never do anything wrong to anybody outside. So she was an enabler pretty bad, you know what I mean? And I can see that now as an adult and as a parent as well. Like, man, it's sad that I lost my mom, but glad that the separation happened when it did. And I was able to kind of walk my own path after that without that outside influence, Like the last time I saw my mom, I had a condo here in Colorado. It was post-prison, so my son was probably just a young man at that time. And I remember she had kind of started squatting. She just showed up one day in like a hoopty with her boyfriend from Arizona, some random guy, and they stayed for a couple months.
Really?
Probably a month or so, month and a half. And I remember one day I just came home. I'm like, listen, you ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here. Like, I got a young son and a girlfriend, and I'm trying to, do the right thing here. And that was the last time I ever saw her. She left my house, went back to Maine, I believe, and that's where she passed away. Man.
Really?
So she just rode it hard, man. She chose that path. Like, even when I was a young dude, and going pretty hard in the paint before prison, I'd call my mom and she'd be Easy-E be blasting in the background, and she'd have kind of a party flop house. And it's like, Mom, you're too old to be smoking crack. You're going to fucking die one of these days. And
wow.
That's what happened. She woke up on a Sunday and hit her pipe that was on the table in front of her, had a heart attack, and they found her like 2 days later, still sitting right there. So,
man, that's a lot to unpack.
It's the first time I've said all that.
I guess to rewind a little bit and break this down. What was the environment like growing up in the house, and were you going to school at that point and that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
Was that all kind of kept together? Or is it...
like I was always a good student, man. I mean, hell, even right up until high school when I got expelled, I was a 3.5, 3.6 GPA. I was never a stupid person. That was half my problem, I think. I was too easy. School was too easy.
Yeah.
So the street life was like, that seems a little cooler out there. Let's go explore that a little bit. But no, growing up young was very tumultuous, crazy, hectic. Mom's boyfriends were drug dealers. I remember searching for presents and stuff and finding like plates of Coke. And, I remember calling my dad one time and being like, I was in the DARE program. So a relative age, right?
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7 years old. And
Crazy
being like,
time.
I gotta call the police. There's cocaine on the table.
Oh, shit.
And my dad's like, listen, man, if you've ever listened to me in your life, this is the one time. And him and her didn't get along, but he was doing what he was supposed to as a father. And just don't call the cops this time and just let it go. Trust me.
How much was he in the picture at that time?
There was like every other weekend,
Okay.
whenever she was cool enough and not being crazy enough to let him see me see him. That was when like McDonald's cheeseburgers were like 65 cents. And I remember he'd come pick me up and we'd go get like these 2 cheeseburgers. He was poor, man. We were all so poor back then, And we'd go get the cheeseburgers and French fries and like have a little meal and he'd have to bring me right back and stuff. But I have a lot of memories with him, like him dinging balls at me and freaking whacking me in the shins and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
I grew up not similar environments. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So I can feel that. And
my wife
it's not that I grew up bad, like I had great influences, but I kind of had the run of the house, and I think I found myself in a lot of trouble because of that, because I wasn't really, I didn't know, I knew what was right and wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes doing the wrong thing got me the most reward.
Right.
And my family the most reward.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the most affirmation, I guess. So I'm just curious that, we're going to go down the road and to you being incarcerated and all that. And do you think like illegal stuff started happening, or did it start happening as a kid? Because you were intrigued by the streets and stuff like that?
We're at this age, right? I can say that the very first night I ever committed my first crime was the night that Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, Nothing But a G Thing, was put out on MTV, the original back in the day. I remember my buddy and I were watching it. We were all hyped. Let's go do some crime. And we broke into a gun store, stole a bunch of guns, and we got in a bunch of trouble.
That was your first time you ever broke the law.
We were in the East Coast, but it was like evergreen. So there was like one gun store, and we were the only idiots in town. So we got caught like immediately, I was not built for a life of crime. I didn't know that stealing and all that, was not for me. But I was like, cool, let's just go out and do dumb stuff with idle time. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like, that was the first brush with the law, and that changed everything for me living on the East Coast. Mom had already went crazy. They sent me back to live with Dad. My stepmom and I just did not get along when I was young. It is what it is. We're great now. I have a great sister, great stepbrother, great family. But when we were young, we just didn't see eye to eye, So they said, we're not keeping him here, And they sent me here to Colorado to live with my uncle, who at the time was something in the Marine Corps. I don't know what his rank was at the time. He is now a retired gunnery sergeant, but very well-to-do, very well-known guy here in Colorado as well. So they sent me out here, and that's how I came to be here in Colorado.
Really? How old were you when that move happened?
Like I said, probably 14 going on, 14.
Okay.
Yeah, because I did like driver's ed and everything here in Colorado. So, yeah, sometime right around 14 years old.
Was he a good influence, him being squared away in the military and stuff like that, or...
Now, absolutely. One of the most solid men in my life. But back then, I think the thought was, which we know in our generation, was if you can't fix them, just beat them into it. Mm. So when I came out here, it was, send him to the Marine. He'll teach him how to walk the line. So the physical, the mental abuse was there. But in our generation, that wasn't a real thing, right? It was just suck it the fuck up.
It was discipline.
Learn. It was discipline, 100%, right? So I'm not saying I was abused. It was just a different way of reckoning back then. So after one abusive situation, I just said, I'm out of here type of thing. I bucked back. He kicked me out. So then I ended up here in Colorado by myself. I was staying with a friend and his
14.
mom. Yeah, so I probably was 16 by then, so I spent some time with my uncle for sure, a little bit, about a year and a half, and then it just fell apart. So then I was here in Colorado by myself, trying to figure it out. Still going to school. I was going to Rangeview High School here in Aurora, or down in Aurora. Yeah, I finished, what was it, I just started maybe my sophomore or my junior year. No, I didn't even make it to my junior year. I was in my sophomore year, and we were street kids. We were always out fighting, just having a ruckus, just doing boy stuff, man. And one of my buddies got into a pretty serious fight with a guy, baseball bat involved, and I witnessed it. Didn't take part, but street code says we don't tell. And when we went back to school, they were, if you don't tell on your buddy, you're out of here. And then I said I'd rather walk the streets and not have to watch my back than to tell and have to go back in that place. And man, I remember that principal. He was so mad. He was, you get the fuck out of my office. And the only way they really screwed me on that is I said I quit. I got up real respectfully. I pushed my chair and I said I quit. And as I turned to walk out, he says, "You're fucking expelled." So that's what they put on my record. And
oh, really?
Made me going back to school, getting back into another school that much harder, when I was like, no, I definitely quit.
So how are you surviving at this time, at that age? Being on your own?
Yeah, I was working part-time, going to school, and I was selling weed. I was just figuring out that, doing the thing was going to help me get by, and that's where the drug trade started for me. I never got into it.
Well, it's crazy because, like, that taking it back to that reward thing that I was talking about a little bit there, like I remember my first legitimate job, I was making like $5.25 an hour or something like that, dude.
I was like flipping burgers at Good Times.
Dude, I was drilling holes in rock.
Right. Yeah.
I got to blow it up with dynamite at the end of the day, which was fucking rad. Dude. I loved it. And I was like, I would have done it for free. I was basically doing it for free.
Right.
Yeah,
like in high school, I got a good job with Colorado Ski and Golf. They're real big here in Colorado. And I used to tune skis back in this, so we'd be stoned, pop hot smokers, tuning skis, acting like we were crazy. But
aren't all guys that do that job?
I think everybody at one time has to do that job.
It's like being a surfboard rental guy.
And, it's like, it doesn't matter. Just put it in the back of the truck.
Right.
We had a lot of fun though back then. It was like I said, I didn't really have a care in the world. High school was easy to me. Mm-hmm. Going to school, I could show up half the time. My problems in high school started actually like off of a whim. Obviously we were all, gang stuff was around, and I was involved with a certain group, and there was other groups, so there was problems, that we were always having. But where my problems really started is we had went out one night, a couple of my buddies and I, and smoking pot in the car and stuff, and at that point in time, honestly, like I hadn't smoked pot at all ever in my life, and I just drink a beer, keep the pot away from me. So I go back to, we go back home that night, whatever, we go to bed, we woke up late for school the next morning, and I jam out. I didn't realize I threw the same shirt on that I had. So, like, my second period, teacher smelled it on me. So, like, I get jammed up by the security at, like, 7th period, like, surround me. That was back when you shouldn't have a pager in school. Of course, I had my pager tucked in, and they made a big to-do of it.
Yeah.
So they...
I'm going down memory lane with you right now. This is awesome.
Suspended me from school for 3 days. We know you were smoking pot. And I'm like, listen, I don't smoke weed, man. I'm an athlete. I was still wrestling. I was still really active. And... they kicked me out of school, and I went immediately and got a drug test, and it took 2 days for it to come back, and it was clean. And then they had to lick their own, to let me back in school. And once that happened, it was never the same for me. They had it out for me.
Oh, right.
They knew that I was a problem, but I was I knew the line, so they just saw me as being a good student when I was a criminal out there on the street as soon as I left the parking lot. They were trying to make me mesh that line, and, they ended up getting me pretty good. So,
right.
Like I said, it was just me not telling is what ended up finishing the whole school thing, but it just...
But heavily involved with athletics at that time.
Yeah.
Were your coaches privy to all that and stuff, or were they helpful or trying to help you?
So, like...
Because, like, some of the best mentorship I've had were, like, high school football coaches or high school wrestling coaches.
So I was the wrestler, and they wanted me to play football so bad. So listen to what they did to me. They suspended me for that 3 days until I got the drug test. part of that was Rocky Mountain Speed Camp had just started, and that football coach wanted me to play football so bad. And I was like, Coach, I'm a wrestler, dude. I played baseball when I was young. I wrestle now. That's my sport. To get back into school, even with the clean drug test, I had agreed to go to Rocky Mountain Speed Camp for the football coach, just because they wanted me to play football. So I went to the speed camp. I learned a lot of cool stuff, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to wrestle now. And they were even more aggravated with me, So like I said, I think it was a little bit of politics and stuff, but the principal we had at that time was an absolute ass, I think he's actually the head of like the Greek fraternal order for like the universities. I think it's either like CSU or UNC. His name's Mark Stein.
Okay.
I swore that guy had whiskey in his cup every day. He'd have whiskey with the coffee, and when he would yell at you, he'd be in your face, you're going to go to jail one day, you're a, punk kid. Like, sir, is that whiskey? I mean, we drink that on the weekends, but
right.
You're supposed to be drinking it. You're in the office here. So, but
it was a different time, man. Like, my football coach would straight up abuse me. Like,
oh, yeah.
If he saw me coming down, he was a dipper, and I was a dipper. So if he saw you coming down the hallway with he could spot it, even if it was a little bit, right? And because I was playing football, he didn't want me to get in trouble. So he had a Cadillac keychain on his, or Cadillac hood ornament on his keychain. And he would fucking put me in a headlock. And he was a massive man, dude. Like, built like you, a little bit bigger in stature, and just put you in a headlock and grind that fucking thing. I'd be bleeding by the time I was done. I was like, holy shit, man. Fucking, it's just a different time. You couldn't get away with that now. There's no fucking way you could get away with that. And the way our wrestling coaches used to abuse us, was fucking, that was real. I think the wrestling coaches still get away with it a little bit.
Absolutely. But I say, like, wrestling is by far that sport.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done.
100%.
Absolutely.
Like people say, well, what about jiu-jitsu? And I said, no, man, wrestling is what definitely changed me as a young man. But I just didn't, it takes you a long time to get that gift, to figure it out and to accept that. It's embracing the suck is what it is, right? We all know, but not everybody can do it and be comfortable. Wrestling is what gives that to you. I say what jiu-jitsu gave you is just everything you wanted to do in wrestling in grade school and high school that you couldn't really do, grabbing limbs and, submitting, doing dirty.
Especially in the gi, man, like learning how to fight in clothes or use some clothes against somebody.
It's so much fun.
I've used it a couple times.
I'm not a big gi practitioner, but I say, like, if you're doing any, like, self-defense wise, makes perfect sense.
Sure.
Security work, right? Makes perfect sense. Because in security work, you can't punch people. You have to just,
especially if you're like working at a bar or something.
Yeah, exactly. So clothes are your
I hope you're wearing a leather jacket.
Tie your head up in a t-shirt.
We just had Daniel Amesbury in not too long ago. But you probably know Amesy. You might have trained with him a little bit. Like, so he's a pro hockey player, but an enforcer, like the old school era, like the Scott Parkers and that whole era. And is kind of taking that role in the minor pros, and minor pros like bringing that back because it's filling the seats and he's fighting fucking 200 times a season or something crazy, right?
Skates.
Like, on skates, right?
I've always said it, dude. I'm a bad man, but you never want to fight with a hockey
That's
player,
crazy. And I think he was the first. Have you seen any of the Ice War stuff?
No.
Talk about another crazy fight league.
Is that where they get gloves and they're on the ice?
So
I've only seen a short clip.
It's not actual ice. I wish that they would do it on actual ice. It's like that Teflon shit, but they get full hockey gear on, helmets and everything. And then the one that I went to, they were wearing like the UFC gloves, like the 4-ounce gloves or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And it was a brawl, man. They had rounds but it was the guys had to fight like 4 or 5 times in a night. So it was like a tournament bracket system.
Wow.
So you would end up fighting 3 or 4. So it was pretty crazy. And then there was no weight classes. So they had this dude, shout out to Chief Big Snake, man. This dude was like 320 pounds or something, dude. And then you put it, and he was like 6'6", and then you put him on skates, and he's like 6'9". Yeah, this is it. This is Ice Wars. But Bare Knuckle just bought some licensing to it or something now. So now Bare Knuckle's
Ian
involved.
Heinisch was just talking about that recently.
Yeah, I think Kamosi just went and did the commentary
I
for
bet you
it.
that's why.
But it's cool.
Buddies,
But Daniel, shout out to Daniel Amesbury. Amesy he was the first champion of Ice Wars, which is kind of cool. So he's trained with Brad and down at Genesis and and stuff. But we just had him in. But he was talking about like one of the things that Scott Parker, and Scott used to run around the gyms and train back in the day. You probably saw Scott in and out of gyms occasionally.
I probably have, yeah.
He was an enforcer during the NHLs when it was the same sort of thing. Like the NHL was at its fucking prime. I think like that late 90s to early 2000s was just crazy. But he was saying like Scott would teach you how to grab somebody's jersey and then just keep twisting so you're choking them and punching them at the same time. Like all those little street tricks, you know what I mean? Like
absolutely. It all works.
It looks like everyth's legal, but I'm literally choking you to death right now.
I love it.
Oh, so cool. Kind of cool. How in the hell were you navigating school? Were your parents still involved with like signing permission slips and registration, or how are you doing that on your own? Or was your uncle helping you out? Or
no, when he walked away. But the lady that I lived with, she was a school teacher in Commerce City.
Okay,
and her son was my buddy, and they like more or less gave up all rights to me and just signed it over to her. So I stayed with them for a couple years. And then I ended up getting my own place. So she, more or less, I just had all my own rights. That's kind of one of the ways, we can kind of guide into like how I ended up in prison over juvenile detention. Because when I actually committed my felony, I was still a juvenile.
No shit.
Yeah. So the lovely state of Colorado said, well, he's living here on his own.
Okay, so hold up just a second. I'm going to slow you down here for a minute. And yes, we are going to dive into that.
Yep.
You're going to school. You're living at a buddy's house. His mom was gracious enough to be your legal guardian at that point, right? Because, to wrestle, you had to have an insurance waiver signed or whatever, right? Like you weren't doing that on your own. So, and then as far as like, what were her implications on you living in the house? Like, did you have to provide income, or was there any sort of like?
Yeah, there was. I know that there was like a monthly stipend that was paid to her. I don't remember, to be honest, but I know that there was like help with the bills. There was a monthly stipend that was given.
Oh, so your parents were helping out that way, somewhat.
When my older brother died, he left me his life insurance policy, so I was lucky that I had a little bit of money. We'll get to that as well, where all that went when my...
Yeah, I want to talk about that too. That was another thing before. I don't know where to fit that in the story, so I'll let you fit it in. But like losing... So you basically lost your entire family by the age of 14.
Yeah.
Or were abandoned by them.
Yeah.
Then probably... How close were you and your brother?
Yeah, that's what I'll talk about now. Like he like pretty much raised me, my mom... And dad, when I was young, my dad was a police officer and would do like security part-time. So he was involved with law enforcement and government work, stuff like that my whole life. When I was a young kid, I should say. And so my brother raised me a lot. My mom was off doing God knows what. I don't remember. But so yeah, and then my brother was, 10 years older than me. So he went away we lived in New Hampshire. So let me see. We're in Massachusetts. He moved away to Maine to go to University of Northern Maine to go to college for computer-aided drafting when that was like the new hot thing way back then. So he moved up there to live with my aunt and uncle, somewhere off of campus so that he could go to school up there, and that's where he ended up passing away. His buddy had come over with his new crotch rocket, and my brother had a pickup truck, and of course he let me ride your bike, dude. And his buddy was following behind him. Spring day in New England, still snow on the sides of the road, snow banks, and he hit a pothole, didn't have a helmet on, kind of lost control, and I guess he hit the snowbank, went over the handlebars and hit a street sign. So paramedics said when they got there, he took like one or two breaths, and that was the end of it for him. So
really,
Yeah, it's
How did you get the news when that, and how did that affect you as a young man? Like that's got to be because you were 12 or
yeah, I was young. Yeah, so that was the first time I ever seen my father melt. Like, you ever heard a grown man cry? Like wail?
I couldn't imagine
That
losing
was
it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to, you're supposed to die before your kids. And
Yeah.
I have a few friends that have gone through that, and I think I can't even fathom it being a parent myself. I can't even.
It was a wild time because my brother was like the first one to go to college, the older boy from our family, like he was a straight edge guy, had a great job. He was on that path. He was going to
So he was a good example.
He was an awesome example. Yeah, absolutely. I remember he'd pick me up with his, pickup truck and, we'd drive around every once in a while. But that was when I was probably starting to listen to rap music and stuff. My sister was more of like a city girl. She introduced me to rap, but my brother was more your generation of like rock and roll and stuff. And so he'd pick me up. You listen to that rap crap, and you got to put some of this on AC/DC, bro.
Yeah.
So he was like that older brother. Trucker hat on. You know what I mean? Pair of sneakers and jeans and a t-shirt. He was just an all country ass dude. But solid dude. But they say the good ones go too soon.
Yeah.
That's why I'm lived to be 150. Yeah. But that just really like changed the whole dynamic of the whole family. You know what I mean? Because then money became involved. People wanted some of his this and that, and everybody was
and
trying
he
to.
left his life insurance policy to you.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that allowed me, as I.
It's crazy. How old was he when he passed? Sorry.
Let's say 25.
So he had life insurance at 25? I don't even think I thought about it until I had kids, man.
Brother, he was working for, I will say like back there, it's like our equivalent to like a Home Depot.
Uh-huh.
And he was like a store manager already. Like he had his shit together.
Really?
I was too young to even, I just know I had a cool older brother come pick me up in his pickup truck and I'd go play football with him and his friends every once in a while,
Yeah.
Or we'd go up to Maine and see my brother who was in college. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I said, once he passed, it was actually, I mean, as cold as it is to say, I was just having this conversation the other day, but I said, that's the first dead body I ever seen. It's unfortunately not the last, but my brother's body was the first one. So we got the news in New Hampshire, long drive up to Maine, it's probably an hour or two. So we're, my dad and I driving, and we get up to the hospital, and he had obviously been there for a little while, my brother, and, they brought us into the emergency room, and he was laying there, and they made like I wasn't even sitting there. So his pants were cut open, all his clothes were cut open, and he had compound fractured his femur, and his arms were already kind of stiff. But yeah, and I remember my dad and the doctor left the room. They just fucking left me sitting there with him. I was like, wow.
Really?
Uh-huh. So yeah, first dead body I ever seen.
You think your dad was kind of numb to it with his time in law enforcement and stuff? Yeah. I mean, those guys, I've come from a family of first responders, mostly firefighters, but like the amount of car accidents and shit that those guys see, I don't think people really realize how much tragedy those guys see on a fucking, sometimes a daily basis, right?
Oh, yeah, like the burning vehicles and all that. Yeah. I remember like even being a kid, seeing a lot of that, like on the New England highways. Is a little
fuck, you see it right here on I-70 if you drive it enough, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
well, back in our day, people would stop and help, so my dad was like always out helping people. I remember that when I was a kid, Yeah. My dad was always like the big, strong guy. I always remember that about my father. He was always handled business, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, he was a good dude.
That's pretty wild. Why do you think they just left you in the room?
I don't know. It seems like to me it might have been, like a 10-minute thing, but it probably was only a split second where they stepped out to discuss something else.
Yeah, but as a kid, it feels, yeah.
And I remember like touching for some reason. That's one memory I do have. Like I had to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah. So.
How did that affect you? And let me know if I'm getting too personal, man.
No,
I'm just curious.
Yep.
Because, man, I'm luckily as a kid, I didn't really have, I'm trying to think if I had friends that passed from suicide and tragic stuff. But I don't think that started happening until I was in high school.
Yeah, it seemed a lot more normal then. Like we definitely lost some buddies in our generation, and whether it was suicide or overdose, car accident. Yep, absolutely, some more normal stuff. But
so were you able to just like go home and go to sleep, or how did that affect you as a kid? Like, do you remember?
Yeah, I remember becoming like secondary. You know, you hear like other people tell stories of like, you know, the older sister passed, the little sister be kind of just like nobody saw her anymore because everybody's talking up here and the kids down here. So I felt that there was a lot of that where I was just kind of like, where do I go now? Because my brother was like the older guy. He was the superstar. He was always going to be somebody. And, you know, so everybody really was attached to my older brother. So when he was gone, they didn't gravitate towards me. It was just kind of,
Plus, they're dealing with their own grief, right?
Everybody really focused on themselves. And
was anybody really there for you during that? Or did you have to go through that by yourself, you felt like?
Yeah, I'm sure like people probably asked for help, but I don't think I knew how to express what was really going on back then and the problems that I was really having. So it was just, you know, he's just acting out. He's acting out, or, you know, he's rebelling. No, that wasn't it at all. I was just trying to figure out what the fuck was going on. You know, looking back at it all, you know, from an adult perspective, it's way easier because with all the time I've had on my hands by myself in my life, I've had plenty of time to figure out some wild shit about myself. You know? And when it all comes down to it, what I realize is that they don't make anybody stronger, you know? So,
man, like, I'm just thinking back and I'm thinking out loud for myself. Like, I had some wild shit happen to me as a kid, and I saw a bunch of shit that I shouldn't have seen as a kid. And like, thank God, man, I don't know how people go through, and I really genuinely feel for them. Like, a lot of what I experienced was domestic violence, and it was like punching and like full on like grown men hitting my mom. You know what I mean? Like full blast, full sin, like full mount, like you know. But I'd never experienced any sort of sexual abuse. You know, thank God, man. And I think that it's shocking when you start looking at the statistics and the females that I've had in here, and like the ones that I know firsthand, whether they were models or whatever, like how many women have fucking experienced that it blows me away, right? That I never did experience that. Ton of domestic violence though. Yeah. Ton.
Yeah.
But, and I grew up in like, sorry.
No, yeah.
I guess it's a long-winded question into my next question, but I grew up kind of with some really good examples in my life, and my mom's dad, my grandfather, and her brothers were just like lead by example men of faith, God-fearing. So I was taught that kind of from a young age and in and out of churches and stuff like that. But there was a point where I was listening to metal music that was, you know, Slayer, and that's all about like devil worship type stuff, you know. And I really, really related to that. I mean, I can attribute that to me having a rock and roll career later in life. Is I was like, I knew from a young man after going to my first concert and seeing the guys walk around on the side of the stage, like, I want that job. I don't want to be the rock star. I want that job. And, but then I believed in God from a young age because I was taught to. But then there was a moment there where I had like major, and I still deal with it today a little bit, I think, like major remorse and just like, how could you do this to me? Like, fuck you. You know, type of thing. Did you have any sort of faith then? And did you feel betrayed? And
I can tell you like this, man, like, you know, sorry to my father, but the day that I saw that with my brother, I remember walking outside, sitting on like the little parking thing in front of your car, you know, little parking concrete thing, whatever it is there.
The things we used to rail slide, the curb stops or whatever they call them.
You know, and I was raised in the church and, you know, had my first communion, and we were all raised to believe and all that stuff. And then I remember walking out there, and even as a young man, I remember looking up and going, fuck you.
Really?
And I still to this day, I'm a very spiritual person, but I don't talk to God and we don't have a relationship. I say just that simple, you know?
Yeah.
So my father struggles with it because he's getting older. You know, he wants me to have a relationship with him, but just not my time.
Yeah. You know, it's hard, man. You have to want to be there. And I've come back full circle. And I think what's made me do it is I'm truly listening to other people and in podcast situations like this. And I've had some people change my fucking mind.
Yeah.
You know,
See,
and for a long
spiritual.
time, I just didn't.
Yeah. Like my father, we have this discussion a lot. He says, I'm very spiritual in the way I explain everything. He said, you just don't have a face that you pray to. That's the same as the guy that he prays to, right? And I say, okay, then I don't need that guy to pray to, right? Like Buddhists believe in somebody else and Muslims believe in somebody else.
Sure.
I believe they're all good fucking people. Take from each of those what you need to make you whole and keep pushing. Doesn't mean I have to go to church or pray to this guy or get down on a rug at sunrise or sunset. It doesn't.
Absolutely.
None of that has anything to do with my religion.
That has nothing to do with faith in general, I
So-
think. Like, I don't think you have to go to church.
Yeah.
I think it's guardrails and it gives people purpose and different perspective. But you can get that in the fight gym talking to somebody that has a strong faith, right?
So people say, like, God saved my life, right? And so they follow God now. I say martial arts saved my life. When I got out of prison and somebody granted me the blessing to teach me this and to start that journey for me, that's why I feel every day with it. So maybe that's my thing that I look to, you know what I mean? That provides me to feeling whole and feeling spiritual, feeling being righteous. All of those things that the Bible talks about and other religions talk about, I find that through martial arts and through training and through challenging myself every day.
Absolutely. I'm very much the same way, but mine is nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love
absolutely,
fucking being in the mountains and elk hunting and like there's something spiritual about taking a life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hunted when I was young. I've taken
Yeah.
a deer. I've had a deer once, had a whitetail. Most people haven't.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. But, you know, as an adult, I can't hunt now. So,
Yeah. I think that when I say it's spiritual, it doesn't feel good, but there is something like,
Yeah.
you know,
it's a primal thing.
it's
as
a
well.
primal thing. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And
You know?
it's crazy because we've had some, with this podcast, it's been crazy. It's run the gamut with guests.
Right.
But I've had a neurophysiologist in here that explained to me, like, a lot of her research has been on rehabilitating veterans from like the special operations community and stuff with nature therapy and trying to get away from prescribing SSRIs and stuff like that. And the VA being able to prescribe nature or alternative therapies, right? Whether it's rock climbing or whatever, right? And there's a lot of red tape because unfortunately there's a ton of people out there that are taking advantage of that so they can fund their dirt bike trip or whatever, right? But yeah, she's actually looking at the science of it and like breaking it down, so it makes a lot of sense. And I believe, like, you know, like Mother Earth is kind of like, it's almost a god in itself, you know what I mean? So like, I think you can get faith in so many different ways. I think they all have kind of the same commonality and like, just be a fucking good person, man. Like, you know, that's part of it.
Yeah.
But I think when you start rebelling towards it, that's when I was the worst. Like, there was a time in my life where I wasn't afraid to, like, if I felt disrespected, I was going to fight. Or if you disrespected somebody else, I was a protector.
I was exactly the same way.
Yeah.
I very rarely fought. Like, you could have spit in my face when I was young and I would have been like, wiped it off. But if you spit in his face or her face that was with me, I'd lose my yeah, no.
That's all the times I got in trouble.
The bully,
Yeah.
like, I mean.
Well, that and alcohol.
Yeah. Bully this. It's actually like the first martial arts based anti-bullying program here in Colorado.
I know. I want to dive into that with you too. So let's put a pin in that.
Yeah.
To keep going with your story here. So after seeing your brother and going through all of that, I'm sure that had to be like, especially with the mentorship that he was giving you, that had to be a big catalyst for your
It was a void,
kind of
right?
like being a
void.
bad kid, playing that line or knowing how to play that line and being smart at it.
Yeah. Well, I think that was the we just talked about the bully thing, right? So
Yeah.
that's, I think, when it changed from me wanting to protect to me still wanting to protect but not giving a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I was, like if we knew that taking it that far was okay, I would take it that far. Just see what happened, you know? And that's when I think after the brother, I started to just push the boundaries. And even like throughout high school, all the assaults and batteries, and I mean, I'm sure my rap sheet was a half a mile long with just simple assaults and batteries. But that's because I was that guy, like if you said something wrong, I had no problem smacking you right in the mouth for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I realize as an adult now, it's because I didn't have the ability to have a conversation or to think through it or talk it through. So the first thing I went to was this, you know.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah. And it just was immaturity on my part. I didn't know that then, you know, but it was a hard lesson to learn, you know.
Yeah, I don't think you should be hard on yourself for that because, I mean, you're a kid. You're trying to figure it out, left on your own. Pretty much, you know what I mean? It's like I was doing the same shit, and I had parents.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No,
Around
absolutely.
or parent figures, you know, role models and stuff.
Like
and I was still
remember-
doing bad shit, and they were great some of them were great role models. You know,
I remember thinking, like, you know, when I was out here by myself, a couple times going home, you know, and I'd be by myself, right? I'm like, I wonder what they really do say. You know, like what a normal parent say when their kids go home.
Oh,
you
right.
know, like I didn't have anything to bounce it off of. So I just kind of wrote my own playbook, which is not the right thing to do. To anybody out there that's a young man, you know, from 17 to 25, I'll just be the first to tell you, you don't have it figured out, you know. And the best thing you can do is ask an older person above 35 or 40. Ask them what they did or how they handled that situation.
some
that you're
sort of
dealing with.
mentorship.
Bounce it off something. Bounce it off 10 people, you know, before you make a serious move in life because it could change everything.
It's crazy, man. Yeah, I think sometimes as a kid, you just have those blinders on what you want to do or what you want to achieve, and that's good too. But like, there's so much you can learn from someone else.
Mm-hmm. I got to the point where like all I wanted to be was the best gangster possible, you know, and I didn't really have any point. Like I was a stick-up kid. I was a drug dealer. I was stealing, robbing, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. I wasn't specified on any one thing. I just wanted to be a savage. Then I'll lead into this, you know, one night I went to a high school party and I got invited actually to a high school party. It was another group of kids there, you know, that I wasn't too cool with, but you know, one of my buddies was friends with them, and they're going to be cool. You'll be fine. So I showed up to that party, and we were having some drinking, you know, having a blast. Everybody's getting pretty crazy. And these guys that were hosting the party had some enemies. And somebody knocked on the front door of the house, and one of their guys answered the door. He got punched in the face, and a tear gas canister come flying in the house, like military grade.
Oh, shit.
What they were trying to do is get everybody to disperse and run out the front door. And when that started happening, there was guys out there, and they were picking people off, fighting, jumping on people. My girlfriend got the tear gas pretty bad, so I was dousing her in the tub and doing whatever I had to do. And once we leave the house, I got her by the hand, and this isn't my problem. This is between two other groups of people. So I'm heading her to the car, and one of the guys jumped in, sucked me in the eye, you know, folded my skin was all hanging down. So that was a mistake. That was my decision that I made. That was my biggest mistake, was instead of just going to the car with her, I remember her looking back and saying, just come with me. I couldn't let it go, right? My pride screwed me. So instead of going with her to the car, I chose to get into a fight with that kid and beat him almost half to death. He died. They revived him. Thank God for me, or I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Yeah, so the day I got sentenced, the judge told me, Mr. Lee, if you'd have kicked him one more time, I'd be giving you life without parole. So I hope you take this 8 years. Go ahead and think about what you've done. And that was the day my whole life changed.
Wow. How old were you in this? Because you said you were still a minor, right?
Yeah. So this happened in 1995. So when I got sentenced I got found guilty on November 17th in 1997, and I never came home until August 1st of 2001. They released me to a halfway house, and I stayed in the halfway house for a long time. That's a long process because I was found guilty of second-degree assault, after the charges being dropped from attempted murder and so on and so forth. So they finally found me guilty of second-degree assault. Also charged me with a second felony, which was mandatory sentence to prison for violent criminals, which was because of the summer of violence we had here in Colorado in 95, 94, all the gang violence. So they couldn't do a halfway house, couldn't do probation. But before all that, they had decided to adjudicate me, which is to send me to adult court or send me to a hearing to see if they want to charge me as an adult, even though I committed the crime as a juvenile. Because I was living in Colorado then by myself, quote unquote, and I was acting as an adult because I had a job and still going to school. The adjudication hearing, I got snowballed pretty good, and they ended up charging me as an adult. So I no longer could go to juvenile, anything. I had to go to state prison. So
crazy, man.
It got snowballed pretty quick, you know?
Yeah.
But
I don't think people realize, like, you are literally one bad decision away from being incarcerated.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the way that the system's set up, and then unless you've played in that system, like, it's not, unfortunately, it doesn't come down to merit or anything like that. It's just by the book, the law, the way it's laid out, and it fucking changes people's lives. Like, it fucking took 9 years of your life. I'm not justifying or saying what you did was right.
No,
but I don't think it was wrong either.
No,
you know what I mean? I know that's
this
a
was
fucking
an
double-edged sword.
I completely understand, and I'll say this to everybody out there listening as well, all them young guys, you know, that think street fighting's cool. It was an amicable street fight. But as soon as he hit the ground and I chose to jump in and kick him one more time in the head, I crossed the lines of self-defense. And because of my kicking him in the head, depressed skull fractures, and then they have to relieve pressure. And if they hadn't been able to do that, I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't have a great life story to tell. I'd just be a number.
Yeah.
You know, to this day, my Department of Corrections number is 96080. And I have been out of prison 20 plus years. I still wear that thing on my forehead. Like, I could remember it like the back of my hand. Wild to think, you know? So, but it's a cool thing too. You know, I can go on the Colorado Department of Corrections website now and put in my number. And I've been out so long, I don't even pop up anymore.
Really?
That's a really cool thing. That was a win for me in life. It's kind of silly, right? But I pulled that up one day to like show my wife or somebody. I was like, I've been out so long, I'm not even on there anymore.
Well, and you fucking broke a major cycle because most guys, and I'm sure we're going to dive into this, but most guys that I know that have been, and I know some people that are fucking great people that have been to prison for murder.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Just because as a kid they got caught up in gang violence and maybe they were an LA Crip and maybe they killed somebody.
Absolutely.
What I mean?
One of my good buddies, it's one guy I made friends with from prison. I was his best man at his wedding. He's a God-fearing, great man with a family. Trained both his sons. He's got a great wife. Pulled the gun on a crackhead one night that was trying to rob him as a drug dealer and shot him like 9 times, killed the guy.
Yeah.
But, you know, he got charged with manslaughter, not murder, because that guy was trying to rob him, also had a weapon. So he got pretty lucky. He should be doing life without parole. We should never know who that guy is, but got out and was able to impact a lot of people in life and was one of my good friends in there. He's literally the only guy that I ever stayed in touch with that I knew from prison still.
It's a crazy system, especially when you're growing up in the neighborhoods. You know, like I was so fortunate that I grew up here and cops had so much patience because like I think about what we put them through and
especially
you know what I mean? Like if I would have been, I think if I would have been in the inner city, I could have been in your same situation real fast, you know?
Yeah. It was, I don't know. It just seemed like everybody was going at the same pace that I was hanging around, you know what I mean? But I was just the unlucky one that got caught for the serious thing, you know, like
I was the same exact pace up here, man.
Everybody else was getting caught for small stuff, and I never did. And I was like, ha. And then the one thing I got caught for was the big felony, right? And everybody else was like, oh my God, dude, you're going away forever? Thank God I was doing the math in my head at 18. I'm going, okay, I'll still be out in good time, I think, here. You know, I didn't know how it all worked
but
yet.
Still, man, fucking robbed of like your prime.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
It was
crazy.
I spent my 21st birthday in prison. That's a thought that's wild. I look back at it all. I'm like, the only thing I think I really missed that I wish I could have done was like university. I think I would have been like one of those soror fraternity guys, playing sports just to like go live that 4-year life dickhead move.
I don't know. You might,
I don't
you
know.
might have caught a couple more cases. I don't really like frat boys. So I'm
Me
sorry.
either,
Like,
but
yeah.
I'm like looking back, like maybe college would have been cool to like go to the university.
What
go
if
away
you would have
from
wrestled
home.
at a D1 school or
Right.
something?
It could have been
know?
something
Like,
cool like
yeah.
that. It's like I chose the hard path, and I've always chosen it, but now I choose it by choice to challenge myself, not because I'm trying to be something I'm not.
Right.
That makes sense, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, like I choose the hard path. The hard path was forced upon me for so long that eventually it just becomes normal, right? So then when I wasn't challenged by the hard path anymore, I had to make the path hard for myself again so that I could grow as a person.
Yeah. Well, I want to commend you because I think you've done the hardest thing by not going back to prison.
87% recidivism rate the day I got out. I remember Sergeant Martinez saying, "Mr. Lee, I'll see you when you come back." And I said, "Sergeant, next time you see me, we'll be on television." But what I meant at that time was like O.J. Simpson shooting it out with the cops rolling down the highway. I figured if they're going to see me again, it'll be
going
the
out in a
real
blaze
deal.
of glory.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Young Guns.
What I didn't realize is that I saw Sergeant Martinez one time at a Paramount Prize fight right after I'd won by knockout in the crowd. And
Shit.
And he said, "On television, huh?" And I said, I looked at him like, fuck with a thought. And that's the only time I've ever seen that man. And that's the only thing I've ever said to him. But it was a really cool reckoning moment in my life. Like, I have arrived.
Yeah.
And I never even thought this is where I'd be. And I think that's why I take like the fighting, not with like a grain of salt, but it was very humbling to me because I could have chose to do a lot of different things, right? But I got welcomed into this. They didn't have to do that for me,
Mm-hmm.
I was the oddball coming into this, So guys like Shane Pitts, long time, he's like an urban legend in Colorado, but he was the first guy. Cody Donovan, high altitude martial arts, saved and changed my life. The other coach after that is Jake Ramos from Genesis, still my mentor and one of my best friends to this day. Like without those key people taking a chance on me and seeing something that I didn't even know was there, I never thought I would have fashioned myself as a professional anything, let alone a professional fighter that people celebrate and get to watch. It's a pretty wild life, And like I say it with emotion, like proudly, because it's mind-blowing to me that this is what I'm doing.
I don't think a lot of people understand unless you actually do it and experience it. And most people are doing it, like myself as a hobbyist. The amount of work ethic, resilience it takes to get to that level, to go through a fight camp, you have to fucking really want to be there.
Brother,
I mean, know what I mean? Like that's
so like you've been on the road with music and being around these crazy cool bands and all this, right? And then you come home and your buddies are like, "Bro, that must be so crazy," because they don't know, right? Yeah, there's the amazing times, but a lot of it's the suck, right? There's a lot of downtime when you're doing that kind of stuff on the road, right? So my buddies on the alternative would say, "Dude, you're up there, you're training with all these pros we see on TV and so cool." I'm like, I haven't landed a jab in 2 years. I've been getting the shit kicked out of me. Every time I show up to that place, I know I'm going to get beat up, get in a car accident pretty much, and then I'm going to go back to my car and figure out how to drive home. Concussed, just got knocked out, cut, stitches still wide open. I got to go find somebody to put stitches in my face. Like, there's been a laundry list of stuff. Yes, it is very cool once you get there.
right.
But man, that path is terrible to get there. But you just have to put on your big girl panties every day, and I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to learn again. I'm going to learn again. And you learn, sayings like, if you learn a lesson, it was never a loss. So as long as you take something positive from those ass whoopings every day, whether it was just technical drilling or sparring, but every day you're getting whooped. Because everybody in that room is better
the way
than
that
you.
you grew up, though, too, right?
100%.
Like, you see that now as an older man. Like it took me a long time to figure that out. You know, I think it makes so much sense to me why it is what you do now, you know? And even at the point, the way that we started this podcast with the King of the Streets, like I have a better understanding of it now and why you do it, Jason. Like just in the hour that I've spent with you right now. Like it makes so much more sense, but we gotta stay on track here, man.
Yes, sir.
Because we can't just skip over you going to prison in 8 years and just hit the fast forward button.
Right.
What was that like being a young man around? You were incarcerated as a juvenile. So did you go to a juvenile facility for the first part of it? They threw you right in.
So the way that came to,
fuck?
good play on it because I didn't mention that, right? So when it first happened, you know, I assaulted this kid. There was another guy, like, you know, so I had jumped on the kid and beat him up, and then one of my friends grabbed me and said, "What are you doing?" You know, said something about the situation, and so then my interaction with that kid that I went to prison over was done. Well, when I turned back around, there was another guy that was part of one of those gangs that was just kind of stomping on him and beating the shit out of him some more, even though the kid was already down. So in essence, I have a co-defendant in this, but I didn't really.
Really?
The cops tried to say, "Oh, they were together."
So
and
they
all,
were pinning his infliction that he took against the victim on you?
Trying to. I'd already done damage. I'd already done damage to him, so I'm not, you know, saying that he took or said I did anything that I didn't do. But the way that it all ended up coming about was I went home, right? So a couple days later, we get a call from the detective. They want to come talk to me. I am all stitched up. You know, my eye had been whatever. We took plenty of pictures. They questioned us on it all. If there's any other problems, this and that, we'll let you know. But that was my summer. My mom was going to be moving back to Maine. She had came out here for a very short period of time. So she was actually living here when I got involved in this altercation with this kid.
Was she trying to rekindle her relationship with you, or was she taking advantage of?
She was taking advantage of everything, but she was here for a short time, right?
Okay.
So this just happened to happen during this time. And so they came to the house, you know, they asking questions to bring me down, right, to the station for questioning and going through all this. We said self-defense the whole time. It kind of went away. I said, well, my mom's going to move back to Maine this summer. I'm going to take her home and probably just stay there. And they're like, well, we have your forwarding information. If we need you, we'll reach out to you. So I went back that whole summer. That was the summer I turned 18, so my life kind of changed because I came into my brother's money. So I bought a used pickup truck, did, you know, whatever I did, bought some stuff. And at the end of the summer, I'm like, I'm going to go back to Colorado.
Hold up a second.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Yep.
So your mom shows back up. Did she knew you were getting that money at 18? Like, I'm not pinning anything.
No,
like,
yeah.
I'm not making any assumptions or anything, but do you think that...
Nah.
No.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, no. I was one of those dudes. I used to get like Playboy subscriptions when I was like 12 because she was using my
Let's
credit and
fucking
stuff.
go.
You know what I'm saying? Like super ghetto.
Yeah, the fucking 9 CDs
I'm like,
for
what do you mean I
fucking
have
a penny
eight
or whatever?
MasterCards? I'm 12. What are you talking about? No wonder I've had shit
Yeah,
credit
somebody
my whole
stole
life.
my credit, dude. Myself.
Right, exactly. So, you know, tumultuous.
Right,
like I
right,
said, she was grimy, you know,
Right.
just to get the fix. So I didn't put anything past her, I guess.
Right.
But, so anyway, like I said, go through the questioning. Nothing really comes of it. We moved back to the East Coast. Like we jump in the U-Haul. I moved my mom back there. End of the summer, I want to come back to Colorado, so I buy a vehicle. I flew one of my buddies out from Colorado, drive back with me, have my cat and my pickup, whatever, filled with stuff. We come back here, and I'm back for probably like 2 or 3 months, got a little place, and I got pulled over. Just traffic, you know what I mean? Oh, well, we see here you wanted for questioning. What? Weird. Oh,
So it was a warrant?
Yeah, they detained me. They take me right in. I'm like, the fuck? So, it's about this assault. When they put this warrant out for my arrest from Colorado, it was only an in-state warrant. So if I'd have never came back to the state of Colorado, I would have never been charged with the felony. They never.
How does that fucking work?
It was fucking Grammy, dude. But anyway, so when I came back, they reinstated everything because when I was gone, they questioned the other guy.
So hold up a second, because So you're telling me if you would have never came back to Colorado, they wouldn't. If you would have got pulled over in Maine, they wouldn't extradited you to Colorado for this case.
100% correct.
But it's a felony charge.
Yep.
How in the fuck could it
and
be
they
a felony?
adjudicated me after that. You see what I'm saying? Like it was a snowball. They knew they had a kid with a lot of money in the bank. So, like for instance, when the judge gave me my bond, $25,000 cash, no surety, because he knew that I had money. So 2 days later, my attorney showed up with the check for $25,000, and they let me out of prison, or let me out of the county. That was the only way I got out. Now, mind you, I'm first-time felon, 18 years old, and I got a job. I'm a resident. They were treating me like I was a fucking kingpin or something. So they gave me the pretty hard ball on it, you know. Go through the trial, get found guilty.
How did they know that you had the money in the bank?
Because my lawyer was an asshole. My lawyer's since been disbarred, and because of my case and other cases, that $25,000, even though I had paid him all his retainers and everything up front, so I got found guilty, and I'm sitting in the county jail thinking, oh shit, this is the rest of my 8 years. What am I doing here? I get a bill from my attorney for like $24,000 in change. So there was no money left, no money for my I'm in prison. That was like my last little bit that I had out of that cash from my brother. So I'd paid him. Then he took my last $25,000 that I still had, and I went
just
to prison
fucking bled you dry.
Yeah. Crazy story, dude. So I got out, and I'm pretty buff and stuff, and I was working for 24 Hour Fitness as a trainer, and I go to use the bathroom one day. And I go into the bathroom, I'm using the pisser, and I go to wash my hands, and I looked over 2 mirrors over, and it was him, my attorney.
How did you restrain
I thought really quick, dude, of like, well, I'm wearing a 24 Hour Fitness t-shirt. I can't obviously do anything like this. So he's kind of making you got the guy over there, you're kind of washing your hands, and you make eye contact. And I just turned to him because there was nobody in the locker room, and I saw my opportunity. And I said, hey, man, do you know who I am? And he kind of turned and looked at me, and it'd been quite a few years. And he said, no, do we know each other? And I said, yeah, we do. I said, my name is Jason Lee. I said, you represented me in a felony case some years ago. I said, and for some reason, you never asked for help. I said, you've been disbarred since then. I said, you took my money and you sent me to prison for 8 years. I said, because you wouldn't ask for help. I said, you're a crooked motherfucker. I said, and I want to let you know, there's a lot of things I could fucking do to you right now. I said, but I've forgiven you, and I hope that you have a great rest of your day. And I turned around and walked off. I made peace with it. But yeah, I literally thought of terrible, terrible things I could have done to that man. He was a little short Jewish guy, just had no thoughts in the world about what he had done to people or what his
I don't know how people do that and go to sleep at night.
Well, like, and I couldn't have had no repercussion because I got found guilty. I couldn't go ask for, to sue this guy for anything.
That could have been your moment right back in prison, man.
Yeah.
It's probably a test from God. Like, I'm not saying... Well, dude, that's a fucking pretty big test.
I'll mention another one of those. Like when I went through my trial, there was one of my friends, a guy that I knew from the neighborhood. He was supposedly a co-defendant type of guy or whatever. He's involved in the case somehow. But he was an eyewitness to this. And when preliminary trial and all the prelim stuff happened, he came in as a witness and said what actually happened, the truth. And then, so we are getting ready to go to trial now, and we're free and clear. We got this all lined out. Well, the state had gotten to him because he was printing money, fake money. So they'd gotten to him, and we didn't know that. So when he went back, he went on the stand at my trial and said, no, I actually perjured myself, and changed his whole story. Said that, Jason was holding him on the ground like this, and he had him like that, and none of it was true. So that guy pretty much was the reason that they dunked me and found me guilty. So, my
fuck the book. You need to talk to a movie director, bro.
So, yeah, talking about that one, too, I got out. I was in the halfway house, actually, and they, you get a little leeway here and there.
Okay, hold on. We skipped over the whole prison part. What was it like going, okay, I asked the question, I guess, to rewind. And I don't mean to stop you, but we got to stop.
You're good.
So, do you go straight into a penitentiary right out of court, or you get transferred from a county jail from being detained to?
You go from, I went from Arapahoe County courts, Arapahoe County jail to, it's called DRDC. It's Denver Regional Diagnostic Center, and it's right next to the women's jail by Denver County Jail.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a Denver Regional.
Unfortunately, I know where Denver County Jail is.
Yeah, most people do. I've never been to that one. Thank gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a 23-hour lockdown for about a month, and they do testing and psychological and this and that. But that's your first real test. That was the first place that I started talking to myself legitimately, because you're in a cell by yourself for 23 hours a day, trying to figure out what you're going to do with your life, and
what does the 1 hour of free time look like? Is it
a shower
outside time?
A shower, and they usually tell you, like, back then it was shower and you could use the phone, but if they didn't process your phone requests and all that, you couldn't even use it, so it was, you might go get a book, sit there and watch a bunch of other crazy people staring at you through their doors, and you go back to your cell.
Fuck.
So then based off of that
you're
testing,
18 years old at this point.
Yeah. So based off of that testing, they kind of figure out where they're going to send you. So me being a young monster, they sent me off to Buena Vista Correctional Facility, also known as the Gladiator School, for all the young meatheads just like myself. So
why do you say that? Or
I was in there with assaults, murders, rapes, everything.
Really?
Top of the line, yeah. It was some pretty savage dudes in there.
Age-wise, was there any other guys in there your age at that point?
Oh, they had 14-year-old kids in there, man. Yeah, they had dudes in there that killed their families. They had one kid, I can't remember his name. He was on, like, Maury Povich came and talked to him while he was in the prison. And this dumb kid went on there and lied, like, about how savage he was in the prison and all this. And then when they sent him back into population, it got real bad for him. Like, yeah, it's a bad place, man. Seen people lose their lives over really dumb stuff in there. Probably 3 more dead bodies just in prison that I got to see.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the lockdown situation in there for you guys?
So after I left the Denver Regional, they send you up to Canyon City for like a little processing. It's called Cell House 5. And that's where you get the first realization that life's going to suck, because it's bar doors. There's fucking so many goddamn people in cells and noise. And that's where they first brought the Scared Straight program.
Okay.
That
was a television school where they'd bring
the kids into the bars, they make them take their shoes off, and they bring them out. They do all different kinds of stuff.
When you say bar doors, that's what you see on the movies, yeah.
Yeah, with a little food tray.
So there's no privacy.
No privacy, no quiet, nothing. But yeah, that was the first time I ever cried in prison, was when they brought them kids in there. And I remember like watching and figuring out what was going on, and remember being like, wow, I just wish somebody would have fucking given me an opportunity like that, like yelled in my face and said, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Maybe I would have like just realized that the path I was on was screwed up.
You have to enlighten me. I can't really remember that show. Is that they would let the prisoners say whatever they wanted to.
Scared
right?
Straight, I think, or like 60 Days In.
Wasn't it an MTV show or something? Look this up, Tyler.
Yeah, but they would like, they have like a sit-down portion, but then they have like where they freak them out, yell at them, go hard on them.
Oh, right.
So it was a similar, like when they brought them into this thing, they were doing the take your shoes off.
2011, yeah.
It was pretty wild, but.
Especially to be a fucking 12-year-old kid and walk into a fucking
It was scary enough for me, and I'm in there for, and I was like, God damn. Take your shoes off, you're in my house now. I was like,
shit.
They're just challenging them to let them know.
But they filmed the first episode here in Colorado.
Oh, did they?
Well, I thought that's...
No, this was just a thing they had. It was just like all of a sudden I got up at the bars, there's a bunch of noise, and hey guys, they're bringing the Scared Straight kids in. Y'all got to be loud, scare them. They wanted us to like be part of the terrifying these kids, because then they would take them out to a separate place and have the inmates actually sit down and do the one-on-ones. So a lot like what you saw there, on the program. But yeah, that was the first time, like I said, that I was just like, I broke. I was sitting at the bars by myself in the cell, like, fuck, man, I just wish somebody would have wrung my neck a couple of times or something, just to kind of bring me back to reality. So I just would have seen that there was a bigger picture, I guess,
It's so hard when you're a young man and there's pussy involved and alcohol and maybe some narcotics, and it's fun to be around that stuff. It's fun to be around wild people. I still enjoy being around wild people. That's one reason why you're saying
right.
I just look wild in a different way, right?
Dude, I look at my wife all the time. I'm like, you still like the bad boy. I'm right here.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that people realize how you're literally one, and I can't remember who, I've heard somebody quote this before, but it's stuck with me forever. Like, you're literally one bad decision away from going to walking into the grocery store. I don't care what community you live in. You're one bad decision away from going to jail or maybe even the pen.
What do they say? Like, it takes a split second to make a bad decision, but it can take up to 10, 20 years of the rest of your life to get yourself out of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's a scary, like, you watch a lot of these, like, crime shows now. My wife says, why do you like these? After everything you've been through, why are you interested in this? I said, I think it's more because what you're seeing, these, like, the interrogations and stuff, and you're like, they really have no idea how fucked they really are. Like, it's the rest, right. And they're just in there like
a reality thing.
Like, they think it's freaking funny. I'm like, yeah, you have I don't care how hard you think you are, you go to that place, that will change you. And I was lucky. Like, I was involved with the red team on the streets, we'll just say, right? When I was young, and not the blue team, I was involved with the red team. And shortly after getting there, I'd made a counterpart with this older Mexican cat. It was kind of like teaching me the ropes, and you don't do this, don't say that. Come to the weight pile with me, work out. Kind of got me in a routine. And
so that affiliation carried over into prison, you think? Or?
So you'll see what I'm getting to here. So this old timer just kind of had me under his wing for a bit, and one day I'm on the flat bench, and I got to prison, dude. I was 153 pounds. So I was a real skinny kid. Yeah, I was young guy, just, didn't have much to me yet. And I remember I'm doing the bench press, and he's standing right above me, spotting me. And I remember him looking down and saying, like, stand the fuck up. I was like, so he racked the bar, and I sat up. And there was, I don't know, there's probably 8, 10 black guys standing in front of me. Big, scary dudes, And one of them says, is your name Jay Lee? And I said, yeah, it is. He said, you from Aurora? Yeah, I am. I'm thinking, this is when they're going to kill me. This is the moment it's coming. Here we go. And he said, so such and such from, the neighborhood? And I said, oh, yeah. I said, didn't spend a lot of time with that guy. And he said, all right, anything you need in here, you ask us. Anybody fucks with you, you're protected. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
Man, was I fucking so glad that I had done what I had done a little bit on the street, right? And spent the time with some real savages out here that protected me the whole time I was in there. I got up every Saturday.
It's the one time that I've heard where doing bad shit might actually pay off. I never really thought about that.
Brother, I'd get up on Saturdays and show respect to the Aryan nation and, show respect to the white brothers. And I'm not about that life. I didn't believe in anything they believed in. I listen to rap music and, you know what I mean? I grew up in a whole different culture. So I would show respect to them in there. But if it didn't have anything to do with red team business, I just didn't get involved. So it kept me out of a lot of stuff. Which was crazy. It was really did save my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, getting out and being known by like some of the biggest original gangsters from that neighborhood still to this day see me and they're like, you really did it, white boy. You really did it. I don't know how it happened, man, but it's here. And, so like I said, respect and love all around, but it's been a wild impact, wild story.
We don't have to dive into this, but
please ask.
What? Just because I've never experienced prison, thank God. I guess what was your biggest what got you through that? How do you start counting the time? Are you looking forward to that day? How are you trying to? Because all of a sudden, let's say the red team decides that you need to do something for them, you could catch another case while you're in prison and not even ever leave, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can make those decisions pretty easily, I think, in there, right?
Yeah, there was definitely things that, had to be done at sometimes, but, it's like the streets, right? We're old enough. There's a way, place and the time, right? There's a way to do everything. You don't put everything out there. I don't know. I think that's just maturity. So, yeah, there were some times when I was called upon, and, as everybody is, but for the most part, it's pretty simple, you know? I was like the fitness guy in there. It was cool. So obviously I went there. I didn't have any college degree. So my first degree. I sent out for like correspondence. So that's actually, to this day, that's how I got my fitness and nutrition degree, for those that don't know.
Oh, you got that while you were in prison?
They wouldn't even allow me the 3-ring binder because we couldn't have metal, so they took all of the paper out and stacked. So I had my desk in my cell by myself, and I would flip page. So I trained and studied and taught myself everything I know about fitness and nutrition. Yeah, through reading and through implementation on my own. So I would read in the cell, and then when we get yard time, I would go outside and...
Had you graduated high school before you were incarcerated?
GED.
Okay,
yeah. So I got a GED when I was in the county jail waiting to go to prison.
Oh, shit.
And then when I went to prison, I paid a couple grand for my correspondence. And then when I got to lower security, later in prison, I was in Rifle, Colorado, and we had access to Colorado Mountain College. So I took the SATs and scored real high. And I'm like, I mean, I only went because I was in prison, but I'm like a credit or two away from having my associates in arts as well.
No shit.
Through Colorado Mountain College. So yeah, they paid for that, the state. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just went away, man. I got really buff. I got really smart. Got educated about a lot of things I didn't know about, like, religion. I read the Bible. I read the Quran. I read a lot on Buddhism. And that's kind of like where I rested with everything, was just like putting out good karma and stuff. Kind of comes back to you in life and just...
So you really took advantage of the time to find yourself and not be bitter, it sounds like.
I came out like laughing. Like, I'm going to be a personal trainer, bro. They're going to pay me to like travel on boats and train people. And I had this whole vision. Granted, it turned out to be 24-hour fitness and working for Bally's and then opening my own gym. So it went a little different. But I was like, you mean I get to get out, be buff, not wear a shirt, right? Train people, and this is going to be what I'm going to do from here on out. I had no idea about martial arts yet or MMA.
Really?
I was just looking to be the best trainer I could be when I got out.
Now, I got to ask this question because it's kind of a correlation to what you're doing now, especially with King of the Streets.
Mm-hmm.
Were you fighting in prison a lot, or was it pretty low-key, or was it like...
I'd say I was
Were
there.
you doing any sort of fight training in prison, shadow boxing, or just strictly lifting weights?
Yep, no. The only kind of martial arts background that, I ever had was wrestling. I went to like karate class when I was a kid. I'd never, even being from Boston,
I don't teach you shit.
No, dude, that was...
It's like it's a money grab for you could get a different belt.
Dude, it was in like some guy's barn
Yeah.
in like Georgetown, Massachusetts.
It reminds me of the Napoleon Dynamite karate teacher.
100%, dude.
Bow to your sensei.
Exactly right. I just remember like had to walk outside to go to like some outhouse in the woods to go use the bathroom. My dad and I were actually laughing about this the other day. But so no, like formal training, or like people thought, oh, you grew up in Boston, you must have had like boxing gyms. They were around. I just never went to that. It was never something I
was never introduced to you, right?
So I really didn't have like formal striking or any type of formal training until I was 27. I walked into high altitude. Like, I had trained jujitsu with Shane Pitts and, met the Nate Marquarts and trained with the Ludwigs and, some of those guys way back for a short period. And then my son was born. So I walked away. When my son was 5, I went back to it. As a single full-time dad, I was like, okay, he's old enough. I can bring him to the gym. And
so I'm sorry, how did you get into that? Were you, because you were working in fitness and had your own gym and stuff, did you run into some fighters or something and make like some sort of connection there?
I ran into a guy who was like a karate point sparring guy, but I think he'd maybe like Olympic something. I don't remember his name, but he ended up introducing me to this guy, Shane Pitts, who was kind of like an urban legend. If you knew about him, you're from the real old school type of thing. He actually cornered Pat Smith in like UFC 1 or 2 or 3, like one of the very early ones. Yeah, you can catch him, a short clip of him on the television, but if you haven't met him, a lot of people, that guy doesn't even exist. He like works for the ATF or something.
Okay.
He's an agent. He's a really strong guy. So anyway, met him. He was the kind of guy, like, I had all prison tattoos, and everything's been covered, and I kind of was like, you can tell where I've been, but I really want to learn about this stuff, man. I went to prison for fighting. Judge said if I fight again, he's going to put me under the prison, like, I'm fresh out of this place, but can you show me? And he's, he was the kind of guy that said to me, if like you fuck this up, you're done.
Right. I never really
So
thought
I
about
was
it
like,
from that
all right,
aspect.
cool, man.
Like,
This guy's willing to take me in, a fucking knucklehead he doesn't know. He knows I've been to prison, doesn't know me from Adam, and he's willing to teach me. So it started for there. I trained for some time, but then my son was going to be born, so I was like, all right, let me take a walk away. I walked away for about 4 to 5 years. And when I went back, that urban legend guy had sold his gym to Nate Marquardt, and it became High Altitude Martial Arts, which to this day is like one of the biggest thriving gyms down in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I walked back in. I met a young Cody Donovan, and he's a legendary guy in Colorado now. And I was, I must have been 240 and jacked. I was like focused on bodybuilding, right? And my buddies were all trying to come, you got to do a show, man, do a show, start taking steroids, do a show. And I'm like, dude, so I went to the show. You want me to get up there in my Speedos? Like, what this is not.
Were you a natural 240 or was that supplement?
A little
Mexican
supplementation,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
But then they were like, yo, you need to get 20 pounds bigger, really start taking stuff. And I'm like, there's not a chance,
That's
bro.
next level, yeah.
So I literally walked into High Altitude. I remember I met Cody, and he's like, bro, how much do you weigh? From a fighter standpoint, I was that guy. I'm like, yeah, I'm like 240. And he's like, how tall are you? I'm like, 5'11". And he's like, you're going to fight at like 185 pounds, right? I almost walked out of there and I never even thought about it again.
Just because you wanted to keep your physique
because I was like,
stuff?
I was like, dude, I put in so much time and effort into being buff.
Yeah.
But deadass was he not exactly correct, dude, that when I started fighting, I was walking around at probably 210, 215.
Well, yeah, another thing to break it
185.
down is like you can't really be athletic at that size, man. Because you need so much blood to go to your muscles
I mean, I was like training legs next to Phil Heath at that time. Before he was Mr. Olympia, he was like up and coming, and he was right next to us at the gym. I was so on that level.
So you had to take a whole new physical journey then to even consider starting.
I died forever. Like I got the cardio like 30 seconds, 1 minute, cool. I got you. But after that, I just die. So the recreation was a long journey in itself. And of course, supplementation and bodybuilding has no place in fighting. Steroids, I don't believe that. They have no place, because what happens if you don't have that? All you're going to be is the natural version of yourself, right?
Right.
So I believe in supplementation, but cheating while I was a competitive fighter, absolutely not. You know what I mean? So getting off anything and getting clean of all that changes everything about your body type as well. Thank God I was still in my late 20s, and I was very athletic. So
because you couldn't have done that shit at 35
was,
or something.
Yeah. So, I mean, I started at 27 there, and I was a multiple-time champion by the time I was 35.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How did you get into that fast track so much? Because you fought in Spartan.
Oh, I've fought.
Yeah, there's so many fight
It goes
leagues
back
now.
to Rocky Mountain Bad Boys.
Yeah.
After that was Fight to Win Promotions, was a huge one. Now Seth just does jiu-jitsu, but we were the start of the whole big-time MMA stuff in Colorado through Fight to Win. Then there was Paramount Prize Fighting. They got in bed with Seth as well. Then Seth went away, and now it's Sparta Combat League and the Colorado Combat League, or Sparta Sports and Entertainment is the company now, and then Colorado Combat. So I've never worked for Colorado Combat because they're too new, but I'm still the light heavyweight undefeated world champion for Sparta in Muay Thai.
No shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I retired from kickboxing 5-0 undefeated. I had 4-0 by knockout in my world title fight. I was 4-0, obviously, and my opponent was 43-7.
Holy shit.
And I beat him by unanimous decision. But yeah, he was an older guy, but I could have thrown the kitchen sink at him, and he just and laughed at me like, I knew what you were going to do there.
When was your run in glory? Was that post?
I had one fight in Glory, and it was when they came to Denver. Okay. They had a really big card. It was Glory 24, and I was the first.
I'm so bummed that league went away, man.
I hear they're trying to come back. Right? It was the best, dude.
It was so badass. From a kickboxing standpoint, I mean, like
the best.
You got your Dustin. Poton came from that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like
Dustin
K1,
Jacoby,
K1 turned into
yeah.
Glory, which they were both phenomenal promotions. You know, if
Yeah.
you were talking about pure, legitimate Dutch style kickboxing,
Yes, dude.
There's
Like,
no
I don't understand why the UFC or somebody's not fucking doing that, man. Like,
Yeah.
I guess, what is it? One Fight League is kind of
One FC's,
One
they
FC,
got some
yeah.
other stuff. Yeah, I went to their first show in Denver when they came
Was
to
that
America.
good?
It
Yeah.
was the production value is phenomenal.
Is it really?
And then getting to see people that you don't.
I wish I
get
would've
it
went,
shoved down your
yeah.
throat all the time. That the UFC kind of shoves people down your throat.
Oh, absolutely. They're
then-
creating. I mean, it's owned by the WWE now. Like, not to
Yeah.
knock anybody that's in it. It's still for real sport, but like, you're starting to see those little things come out a little bit that are very wrestling heavy.
I'm just happy, like, you know, coming from my generation and my standpoint, and guys like Chris, you know, he's still in it, right?
Yes.
Kamozi's still doing it. But to see these guys making legitimate money, life-changing money, I'm so happy that I was just part of the early
yeah.
stages of that, dude. You know, like, that's where it all came from, right? I mean, you know, we had to take the rough early bumps and bruises and making shit money so that it could be where it is now, so that these guys that are really worth it, they can make that money and change their lives and change their families' lives. Because I know guys like me couldn't. You know, I raised my son and we had a phenomenal time. But is it life-changing money? No. You know, you live with it. And unfortunately, like when accidents and stuff like that happen, you learn quickly you're only as good as your last fight. And then, you know, the phone stops ringing and sponsorships and, you know, so you're...
Oh man, it's such a crazy business, man.
Yeah.
It's such a crazy game. Like,
Well, I mean, you're literally like, you know, this is the thing.
yeah,
Without this operating like it's supposed to,
yeah, and you got to be
what am I gonna
medically
do?
cleared to go
Yeah.
fight for a lot of these like organizations and stuff like that, right? Like,
Yep.
it's a crazy sport, and there's not like, there's no golf, there's nobody over 45 really that's fighting. I'm trying to think of.
There might be like 2 or 3 that are, you know, internet guys now or something like that, but
Yeah.
nobody in the UFC. Like I couldn't even get signed to that organization.
Right.
You know, I told my son.
Did you have any opportunities like that, or was there anything that
Yeah.
kind of held
Oh,
you
yeah.
back, like
Yeah.
being that Sparta champion for that
Oh
long
no, like
and stuff?
like Ultimate Fighter, the Ultimate Fighter tryouts, like all
Yeah.
that stuff. I was a single father. I was a full-time dad, brother. I couldn't leave for 6 weeks. I couldn't go anywhere. So while a lot of my teammates all went off, and some of them went to the show, a lot of them went to the UFC.
So those opportunities were there, but you chose being a dad over.
Yeah,
That's fucking rad.
I mean,
man.
dude, I don't refer
My
to
hat
myself
goes
as
off to you,
like-
bro, because there's,
yeah.
that's fucking, that's
We
stand
did
up,
epic.
dude.
We did epic shit together, my son and I,
Respect,
dude.
man.
Like,
That's
you know what I mean?
yeah, that's fucking
so
cool.
I have no. Well, you know, I've shaken Dana White's hand. Cool. He's just a fucking guy from Boston, like me. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go to Pride and fight. You know, honestly, when all my teammates and
man,
I was
Pride
young,
was the
I wanted to
fucking
soccer
best,
kick
dude.
people, the shit out of
Dude,
people,
Pride.
and then the Yakuza screwed that all up right when I was maybe a time when I could start saying, put my name out over there.
Mm-hmm.
I was up and coming, and you know, I was going to say there a minute ago, like I'm very humble about what I've done in Colorado. You know what I mean? But I've heard people say like one of the baddest fighters to ever step into it in Colorado, and I take that like with a huge, you know, grain of like honor or whatever. I take that with a huge honor because my whole life's been about fighting, right? I mean, who the fuck am I really, right? Nobody should even know who I am. So if they mention me with the greats in Colorado, my work's done. I'm good to go.
Which is so crazy because it's what sent you to prison for 8 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Talk
Like,
about taking something they said
like
you couldn't do and
fucking-
being like, fuck you, watch how I fucking and sell it right back to you.
it's
all I
so
had to do.
wild. There's crazy, man. Like, I get domestic violence. I get that you can't just go beat people up, you know, that are innocent bystanders. Like, you know, somebody robbing an old man or an old lady. It like, but there should almost be like a common ground or right? Like, yeah, absolutely. Let's take a break. And then,
Yeah, just give me a minute or two.
yeah, I need to take one too.
It's all good.
If you're not checking out the Mountainside Podcast on YouTube, you absolutely should be. If you like the content that we create here and you want to help support the podcast, please take a moment, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that notification bell.
All right, we're back. Thank God you said something, man. I had to pee for like the last half an hour. I'm trying to stay hydrated. You know, it's like
I've always had like a questionable bladder, right? And when I was a kid, it was like, when are we there yet? Like they knew they had to pull over right now.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't hit me, and then I'm like, oh, okay, yep, I gotta go like right now. So
Fuck yeah.
I don't have like I can wait 10 minutes. My
well,
wife,
dude,
I'm always
it's
like,
been fucking 2 hours. So
that's wild
yeah,
to me.
it's crazy. It's a fucking time
It
machine.
really
in
does.
here.
It is a time warp for sure.
So, to bring it back to your son, because
Yeah.
we just talked about you choosing fatherhood, and my hat goes off to anybody, man. There's so many guys that I know that are just stand-up dudes that have made that a priority, and that respect, man.
Yeah, appreciate
respect,
it, man.
man.
Yeah, I was the guy that would be beating the shit out of people at 10 o'clock on a Thursday and have my baseball chair and my little tent up, my cooler, hanging out watching my son play,
Right.
competitive baseball in the afternoon. Like I wear the hats like that, and it's one thing that made me effective as a father.
That's kind of funny because as soon as we get out of here, you're going to go take your kid to kickboxing or something, and I'm going to go pick up my kid after the two of us sitting down talking about prison life, and it's fucking wild world, right? But
Absolutely.
like, I had to make that same decision with my touring career, but I wouldn't have the podcast now. Like, I'm not a firm believer in everything happens to a reason because I've met a lot of really good people that shitty stuff has happened to them. Like, I don't believe in karma. I believe in being a good person.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, dude, I've met a ton of people they've done nothing wrong in their life and have had a lot of shitty stuff happen to them.
But there's a point to that now, though,
Yeah.
right? Like
They're life lessons, right?
There's not a point to it if I'm not able to impact people with my story, right?
1,000%. Yeah.
If I am able to, like I have been already, or throughout my years, I've impacted a lot of people through fitness, through anti-bullying, through just being a good fucking person, right? And being a guy that people look up to. But if I hadn't accomplished any of that, then what has my life really been all about? It's a waste. It's just been a work in progress of just taking ass whoopings, and nobody gets to benefit from it. Now I'm at this place where I'm benefiting from it. My family is, most importantly, benefiting from it. And everybody that I come in contact with is benefiting from knowing me in one way or another, whether or not that's outlook, inspiration, the vibe, like whatever it is. My whole goal in life now is to just positively impact people, whether it's through my story or through my vibe, like I said, or what I'm doing, what I'm posting, as crazy as it all may look. It's just to inspire people. This isn't, I think I said it to you before, this isn't about the fight. This isn't about getting into the cage in some foreign country and some wild stuff. Yes, that's what's making it all relevant and making it possible for me to tell you this story, right? And to share this with people. But it's really, to me, just about the journey and hoping that everybody can get stronger and find something. I don't even know. You can see, like, I'm still at a loss. I still haven't identified what it is that people are going to find from this yet, right?
Yeah.
But it's something.
Well, dude,
I know it's positive.
I think it's going to go a hell of a lot further than you think, and it might happen overnight after this.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get a lot of people that are going to reach out to you if you put your information out there. So be careful what you put out there. But I know for a fact you've inspired me. So that's fucking one person, dude. And
Thank
that's
you.
all. It's inspiring to me. And you make these assumptions when you look at somebody's social media, or you look at and I'm just as guilty of it. Like, I had my assumptions about you after you telling me. That's one reason why I called you on the phone. It's like, I have to talk to these people. I've learned, like, I have to talk to them. Like, you have to talk to people. You have to have a normal human interaction. Like, text messaging is not a normal human interaction. And I knew from the moment I talked to you, it was like, there's so much more. Not just because you told me about it and we had a really good conversation. We could have fucking recorded that. I think we were on the phone for probably half an hour or something, right?
Yep.
There's so much more to somebody. Like, I think I was introduced to you the way that we opened the podcast with that photo, and I'm just like, dude, this is fucking brutal. Like, you have to be a savage. You have to have a savage side to you to even consider doing this, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to go to another space.
Yeah.
But I don't think without telling the backstory, people can really understand what Jason Lee is or Jay Lee. You know, like it's fucking, there's no.
I mean, dude, in a different day and age, I would have just been a really good operator. To this day, I know that's all I was really meant to do in life was be an operator.
Yeah.
You know, and like we talked about biker stuff earlier, right? I'm a 1%er. I've said that my whole life. I'm a fucking 1%er, dude. I don't wear the patch like them boys do because they respect it. They have a different reason for wearing it, right?
Yeah.
But tell me another fucking guy. I'm a 1%er, dude.
Absolutely.
You know? I look for that. Yeah. You know, I don't care about the other 99%. I want to know what the 1% is doing because I want to go do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the way I
At least
it.
you've done it on the good side of stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
it doesn't have to be a negative connotation to it.
Oh yeah, to be a 1%er,
I'm willing to go to that extreme. Let's freaking get it. Let's not half-ass anything we're doing. Let's go.
Yeah.
And that's the way I approach everything I do in life. Because,
and that's inspiring in itself. And I think you've done that as a father too.
Well, how do you approach it after prison, right? You're not scared of that line, but now you know where that fucking line is. So I can do anything I want. Anything. Now I know what anything means up to that line. You stop right at that line, you're all good to go, man. You know what I'm saying? So you, to the normal population of society, you look like an extremist. Like I'm extreme, right? He goes and climbs mountains, he runs, he does that. You know, he's fighting, he's traveling, he's teaching. I'm not extreme. I'm just filling my time with everything that I know I can do that everybody wants to do but doesn't. And then I stop right before it becomes too crazy, illegal, dangerous, criminal, whatever, right?
Right.
You know where the line is now, so I get to have all the fun I want and never be scared because I know exactly where the line is.
You're fucking living life.
100% to the fullest. I live it without fear. You know? And in one of those pictures that are on the Instagram.
And you were scared to come in here today, dude. Not scared. You were nervous.
I was nervous as hell. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but look you're sitting here now.
There's one of those pictures up there that it says something about on my clip, or my little comment that I put on it just said something about like finding freedom in a moment. Mm-hmm. And in that picture, that's exactly what they found was me finding freedom.
Yeah.
In that moment. And that's where I talk about more of it being like the spiritual journey, you know? And I know you got to figure, like, I've been doing this in 20 years in Colorado, right? I know some of the baddest motherfuckers there are here, women and men, right?
Yeah.
And I can tell you, just off of what I saw in one experience with King of the Streets, I can count on less than one hand how many people could pull that off.
Oh, bro, it is
I watched like that.
Yeah. I watched the BMF. It was a great fight. This is no disrespect to Max Holloway or Dustin Poirier or the UFC. I'm still a fan of it. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if I mentioned this on or off mic, but I'm going to say it fucking again. I had trouble watching the UFC and taking King of the Streets out of the back of my mind because it was almost like I always realized that the UFC was a sport and it was never a street fight, right? Because of all the rules. There's no eye gouging, there's no biting, there's no
just up to the
kicking somebody you're down. You couldn't do the 12 to 6. Yeah, like all that sort of shit, right? So I knew that, but to me it was, well, I kind of take that back. It was kind of like the highest level of combat that you could find on a professional level. It is a barbaric sport still in its own right.
Do you remember Valley Tudo?
Fuck yeah.
Okay, so I actually was, since I've been back, since the event and talking with my wife, and she's not much into the background of fighting and stuff, and I, hey Google, and asked her to pull up, asked her to pull up something about Valley Tudo, and it's exactly the same rule set as King of the Streets.
Is it?
But no groin strikes and no biting. I think there was no groin strikes, no eye strikes, and no biting. So right there, King of the Streets one-ups even Valley Tudo, which to me, in everything I've ever known, was the most legitimate form of Brazilian bare-knuckle fighting, right?
But even then, they were doing it like in a dojo on mats and shit, right?
You know what I mean? Like,
so there's not like a concrete... I mean, literally, all you have to do is, especially with having a wrestling background... I mean, one concrete slam could fucking kill somebody.
That
could have landed you in prison as easily as you throwing hands. Probably sooner.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Like, I mean, I definitely signed a professional contract. You know, if you don't mind, can we talk a little bit about
Yeah, absolutely.
About the organization, the promotion over there, man? The King of the Streets it's a different breed, right? Like we're talking about here, okay?
I don't want to rush through this, man.
Let's ask anything you want in due time, please. Absolutely.
Before we dive into that,
Yes.
I want to know, there's a ton of organizations that you could, and I guess this is more of a question, that you could or could not be fighting for right now. Is that an option? Is there any other options for you as a fighter at this point?
I'm too old for BKFC, and that's about the only thing that really excites me.
Yeah.
But the one-dimensional portion of fighting doesn't really do anything for me.
That, like, BKFC has told you that you're too old for that?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So they have an age limitation?
Yeah. I'd fight for them if they would allow me to, but yeah. I don't think I do have some legitimate medical stuff that, I think with the U.S. being so sanctioned and overbearing.
Like the boxing commissions.
For safety purposes, listen, I love the Colorado Boxing Commission. Some of the greatest guys, I've lived almost a lifetime with these guys, right? In 20 years, I've seen these guys go from young dudes to commissioner to retired now, and some of the greatest guys work for our commission in the state. I mean, I think we have one of the best. Literally, I can say that hands down. So they're looking out for my safety. I get it. You know what I mean?
So what kind of issues?
Yeah,
can I ask? Or?
Absolutely, absolutely.
This won't affect anything with King of the Streets, right? Because there is no commission involved.
No, they love me for what I do. And that's what makes it so pure and incredible to me that they still are able to have me, and to let me be free and let me do what I do. So yeah, I think we'll get to that in this line here as well. But
so the Colorado Commission right now will not let you fight in any sort of fight.
I wouldn't think so. They obviously know that I have my medical conditions. The best doc in the state, shout out to Doc Alex Constantinidis. A couple years ago when I was still back in Maine, kind of drinking my sorrows away after, ending my career and so on and so forth. And noticed I started having kind of like the sun was super bright, like everything seemed like it was extra bright. I remember telling my wife one day on the way home from work, the sun seems super bright today. Like, I'll be home in like a half an hour, though. And she's like, put your sunglasses on. I'm like, they are on. That was the only thing I remember mentioning about it. And within like 2 weeks, I'm like, I couldn't read the measuring tape anymore. And I was like, something's really wrong. So I went to neuro-ophthalmologist, went through, what do they call it, CAT scan? Where you go in the machine there, right? CAT scan. Went to see a neuro-ophthalmologist back home, and they kind of started giving me some diagnosis. So I called Doc Alex here in Colorado. Send him the information, and that's why I say he's so great. He's helped fighters out, man. He lost his family some years ago due to the floods up north in Wyoming, and he's just been an amazing guy. I can't say enough about Doc Alex. So without ever charging me or asking anything, he brought me back to Colorado, got me a referral to one of the top 4 neuro-ophthalmologists here. I came back, and, man, I feel like I've been in that tube probably 10 times now.
No shit.
But it's not my eyesight. It's not my eyeballs. It is my... whatever it is, I always forget it when I go to say it. My optical nerves, I believe is what it is, that run the signal from my eyeballs to my brain has died. So they can't fix that. They can't. I'm saying you can put a spaceship in outer space, but you can't give me new eyes. Something, there's got to be something we could do. But no, nothing we can do. So that was, let's say, I was probably 41 when that happened. So
how... Can I ask how bad it is? Like, can you look at a screen? Can you read a book?
No, I can't read anything.
So how do you operate your phone and stuff and like call?
Up really close, and it's a good question.
Yeah.
So without telling you how I do everything, let's tell you how I overcame it all. So, got my diagnosis, all of that, and they're like, you're done. That's it. You're on disability. You're done. So I sat around on that for like a year. And felt real depressed. And I had, quit drinking hard liquor at that point, but was still drinking beers and just kind of feeling sorry for myself. Like, okay, this is it. It's over. I couldn't go out and get a new degree. I couldn't go study anything, so on and so forth. And I just woke up one day and just said, to be real honest, I just said, fuck this, and was like, I'm going to go back to the gym. I'm going to start working out. I know the gym. I can do that without being able to see real well. So, like, I'm the guy at the gym that looks super confident, but I can't tell you how much weight I have on those stacks for the plates. Like when you're on the machines.
It's that bad. You can't.
Yeah, I can't see any of that, So I just stay in my own lane and do my own thing. So what I've learned is that I do a lot by memory, and I do it by knowing where everything is. So I'm essentially doing everything blind, but I can see. Like, I know you're sitting in front of me, but I can't tell you what your tattoo is. I can't tell you what eye color you have. I know you have facial hair. But so, there's a lot of restrictions, but I just don't look at them as restrictions. I try to figure out everything I can do, not what I can't do. And I go from there.
Fuck, you wouldn't know it, man.
Yeah, so.
Like, I wouldn't know it without you fucking telling me right now.
Yeah, I just.
Okay. Hold the fuck on.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fight? Like that? Is it all a feeling at that point?
Yeah, I'm doing it all by rhythm. Yeah. So once the rhythm starts for me, I just stay in the rhythm. I do have a hard time reading punches a little bit. It just depends on where they're coming from. But I've just learned to stay in my rhythm and not allow the punches to affect me and just keep flowing through it. So it's like the same thing with holding mitts is a really good practice for me, because then I'm catching punches, from the students and my clients and stuff like that allow me to see it in real time as well. So a lot of what I do now is just a lot more technical work, kind of like Thai fighting, where they do a lot of technical sparring. Mm-hmm. So I do a lot of flow drilling, a lot of 20, 30%, very light. I don't do anything real hard anymore. Mm-hmm. And keep myself in the zone, keep my body moving the way that it's supposed to. Yeah.
Holy shit.
So that's how I've overcame it, is not by looking at what the restrictions are, but rather what I can do and how I get around it. My wife.
I'm not laughing, man, but this is fucking crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I think this is a good segue to get into King of the Streets. That's fucking crazy in itself. Even if you were 100% able-bodied 20-year-old kid that was jacked, but you're a 46-year-old man.
Hip replacement.
And you just told me that you're fucking basically blind.
Yeah, left anterior hip replacement 5 years ago, legally blind, and wear hearing aids. And I traveled by myself for this one. A lot of people don't know that. I'm proud to say, guys, that my coaches had some stuff come up at the last minute with some other fighters that we have at our gym that are clearly more important than me, and I'm happy for them young guys. But, the path had already been set, so I went to Europe by myself, traveled internationally for the first time by myself, not being able to really see and get it all done.
That was your first time going international, too.
Yeah.
Fucking hey.
So I did it all blind and came back with a great victory. It's a trip.
Bro, I mean,
brother, I get up every day and I run. I do body weight exercise. Like, I'm nonstop, dude. There's literally
we got to pause this for a second. Sir. Can I?
Okay,
so we're going to
talk about it 100%.
So we're going to have to edit that part out. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Start to stop, we don't edit anything. But I had to make sure. So I did watch your fight.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's fucking wild environment. And if anybody, Tyler, just pull up their website.
Guys, go to King of the Streets. There should be a pay-per-view link you can look at on there
YouTube,
for nosebleeds.
Their Instagram channel,
Instagram.
If you're listening to this right now, we'll put live links go to Jason's Instagram first and foremost and give him a follow, and then there'll be a link from there. But this is a secret fucking society.
I love them, dude. They're so amazing.
This has got to be a rush, man.
Dude,
it's got to be.
Okay, so
there's something fun. This goes back to the wildness, right?
Yeah.
There's this romanticism with it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's what is it? The fear of the unknown? People have a true fear of the unknown. I don't. I just don't. I don't know why. The truth is, I can give you a story. I trained a guy for a long time. He's a real good friend of mine to this day, and he's a retired military guy, and he was a Marine sniper. And when he was retired, he was going over to do contract work, working during that hard times. They were getting pretty crazy. And every time he would come back, he would book sessions with me to just train Muay Thai. And I'm like, dude, Like, you're a contractor, bro. Like, you're a savage, right? Like, what are you doing with me when you come back here, you know? And he said, can I be honest with you? He said, you know, I'm a sniper. He goes, and this is my job. And that takes me nothing. I feel nothing. He goes, and when I do it, sometimes people lose their lives or I'm just doing my job, whatever, but it takes nothing. He goes, but when I come back here and I get to hit with you and get involved, he goes, that allows me to feel alive and push my boundaries. He goes, so that's why this means the world to me. But doing this means absolutely nothing.
It's just a job at that
Hair
point.
stands up on your neck type of thing. I was like, this guy has definitely killed people. Like, holy hell, he said that to me with a dead serious face and normal conversation. So, again, during my journey of life, man, I'm like, dude, there's people out there that search for this kind of thing, man, and have absolutely no problem with doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And in this whole journey, like, my opponent, let's just say opponents in general, right? Out of 100% of my opponents, I am friends with 97% of them to this day, and we either do business together or we still share business or we inspire each other. I've got opponents that have multiple kids programs throughout the city, and I still stop in. These are guys that I've knocked out or they've knocked me out in the past, and we're building kids programs and helping the community to give back constantly. And these are all people that I've fought. Right? No better way to trust a person, you know. From being boys when we were young, dude, you know,
well,
that
there's
guy
like
was
a common bond because you guys have experienced something that nobody else can experience. Mm-hmm. They can watch it, but they're not, and they're experiencing it in that way, but they're not experiencing it the way that.
Yeah. Well, like the opponent there from King of the Streets, his name's Eric Maheda. He's from Glasgow, Scotland, you know, and we didn't know each other at all, you know. We just met in a foreign country and fought damn near to the death.
Your fight's
right?
not available right now. It was only pay-per-view available, right?
I believe it is only pay-per-view. You can go onto their site. I believe they have an extended pay-per-view, and it's only like 16 American US.
Oh, fuck.
You know,
yeah. If you're into this, I will, full disclaimer, there was parts of this that I couldn't even watch.
Yeah, it's not for the general fan. And not for the,
I literally watched your fight, and that's about it.
Yeah. My daughter hasn't watched it. Any kids, I don't recommend whatsoever.
Absolutely
This
not.
is not for the casual fight fan, as we say. Yeah. But, making friends. Like I said, changing lives across the pond. This guy's, he's got a great background. He had a good career before me. And, granted, I came out on top this time, right? But we became friends almost immediately on Instagram. And we had a sit-down conversation after it. And his whole thing to me was simple. He says, we're not bad people, man. We just do bad things. When we're called upon. And I said, man, I can respect and appreciate that. And everything that all of our interactions been almost daily since then, because of our time change. I wake up 6 a.m. and I've got messages from him and, man, you've changed my life, Jason, and you're such an inspiration. And I think in all of this, I guess my point and what I want to say is that I've taught him that it's okay to be who you are. And sometimes we have to turn that person on, right, to do the job. But when that moment's over, we can celebrate victory and loss together and grow as two humans together and still get better and change lives. So that's what we're doing from across the globe now.
The guy that you just fought.
Absolutely. Eric Maheda is just today got his keys to his first gym and full cage ring. I helped him.
And you guys are talking daily.
We're talking daily and motivating, putting out gym challenges.
How long ago was that fight? Just ago.
Mm-hmm.
You were literally trying to gouge each other's eyes out at certain points of the fight because that would give you the best advantage.
I was going to kill him if that's what it took to win. I wasn't coming home to my daughter without a victory. So
has how much, so people understand this, and so you and I don't get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly you. I also don't want anybody showing up at my doorstep here. In all due respect, this is out of the highest respect to anybody that's involved in this as a fighter. And then also the promote. How much can we get into the experience? And like you just talked about traveling by yourself.
Yeah.
Once you get over there, like what
Yeah.
Because
we can get
these
into
are
that.
these are in private locations.
Yeah. Yeah, these are all unknowns to everybody. It's not like they put me in a hood or anything like that and drive me to some secret space and get me
Yeah.
out. But you got to figure you're in a foreign country anyway. You know, you
Right.
don't know what the
Is
fuck you're
there-
driving.
Do they do it in these foreign? What's the legality behind it? Obviously, you probably couldn't get away with this. I mean, there might be people getting away with it, but it's probably a truly underground thing here in the States.
They have it here as well now. Now that I'm part of it, it's
Really?
not the company that I fight for is, let's say, like King of the Streets. From now, I'm seeing the layout, and not to hate on any of the other companies as well, but the K.O.T.S is like your UFC. They have also UUF, which is owned by King of the Streets, but that's their amateur fight league. So the professionals like me, the more savage guys that are a little more well-rounded, are going to be in the King of the Streets, the big promotions.
Okay.
Their amateurs guys they'll put them in same style fighting. Sometimes they wear gloves. They'll put them in 4-ounce gloves for the amateurs sometimes. But same rule sets apply, and they're just not as polished. Now there's another organization out there called SEC, who also does exactly the same thing. They fight in Europe as well, but I hear that they're also now here in the U.S., and they're doing shows in like Tennessee, back in the woods, and some other stuff I've already been invited to, but I've...
So this is, I mean, it is public because they have a YouTube channel, they have an Instagram, they're selling pay-per-views. I would imagine that there's some sort of law enforcement trying to come after them, or some sort
Absolutely.
of commission or something, right?
Yeah, I'm sure there
what-
is. Yeah.
Have you, and I'm sure you've considered this with, especially with your background and that line in the sand and the line that you just talked about crossing. How
I got the
How do you
contract.
stay?
I got the contract that I sign. You know what I mean? And that's what I hold. You know, that's what keeps me out of prison, and that's what keeps me from any type of legality. You
Really?
know? Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was signed up by what they consider their professional organization over there. I signed the contract to fight for them, and whatever happens, happens. And that means to me as well as to him. And that's just something we have to live by. You know, this company has been in business for 10 years and nobody has died. They had one fighter that died a couple of weeks after, but that was due to some other, implications. And then they actually, in taking care of that fighter, they posted it all over their page as well, that he had passed and that there was some health issues and stuff like that, but nothing directly related to the fight. So, that's the number one question. Everybody sees this and they're like, there's no way somebody hasn't died yet, man. But they are very professional about the refereeing that they do. They're very serious and stringent about that.
it seems like to me that whoever's running this organization has some sort of, or an extensive amount of knowledge in the fight game.
Yeah.
And are doing this in the most professional way that, I mean, to have a referee in there to call stoppages and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's
There's
huge.
there's multiple referees that are actually, I think
Okay.
there's actually like 2 referees that are in there, to keep everything cool. And I know there's a couple other camera people as well, so that they get the best footage possible. But
Yeah.
I can tell you from in my past, fighting for sanctioned organizations, I appreciated the King of the Streets a little more. No bullshit time for walkout. No bullshit music. No friggin' Bruce Buffers. None of that. It just, you're there to do a job. And I heard one of the guys say it really well. Like, we're gladiators. This is a gladiatorial event, and it's like the closest thing you can get to watching a gladiatorial event without the fucking death. That's what we're there to do. And I think that clarity allowed me to do my job a lot better. There was absolutely no room for bullshit. Those guys are not fucking around over there. I can say that to everybody that thinks they want to search these guys out and this is what they're looking to do. They're not over there playing around. They are extremely serious about what they're doing. I don't know that they're...
They are currently the 1% of the fight game right
100%. 100% to the one. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They've cornered the market here, and it's, whole career has been about affecting and impacting my home state, right? My community, what's right here in front of me, you know?
That's cool that you call Colorado your home state too. Like,
Brother, I was born in Massachusetts. I'm from Colorado. I was raised in Colorado.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 303 to the fullest.
Yeah, you got 5280 tattooed on your fucking
Goddamn
chest.
right.
Yeah.
I got everything, you know, Massachusetts bore me, you know, but I was bred in Colorado, raised in Colorado for sure. Yeah. But I forgot what I was saying there. Sorry.
Yeah, no, we were talking about the organization. And do you have, what's the latest that we can go?
I got time, man. We can continue on.
Are you sure?
We're in it now. Let's do it. Yep. Well, I'm covered for this afternoon. So until
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
We're 2 hours and 20 minutes into it.
That doesn't seem that far.
Yeah.
You're right. You're like, after about the first minute, you'll forget all about
But
it.
I want to keep going with you. I feel like we're just
cool.
getting into King of the Streets,
Yep.
and I definitely want to have you back.
Okay.
So you just let me know when we need
I got
to cut
more
it
fights
off.
coming up, brother. I'm not done
I know.
yet. I gotta.
know.
I told him. I said I got to come back and get a clean.
No, but
Pure
I need
knockout.
to understand this because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very vague. There's very little information online,
I think that's the
and
greatest
it's
part.
my personal
Yeah,
greed for me.
yeah.
But I think listeners now are down the same rabbit hole with me. And you just tell me if I'm asking too many questions. The last thing I want to do is get you in trouble
Yeah,
as a
yeah, yeah.
friend.
Let
And
me say this real quick.
yeah.
Like the one thing about the safety portion, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we see it in the UFC now a lot too, right? The camaraderie. As soon as the fight's over, you got hugs and man, respect, bro. That was awesome. You know what I mean? I saw a lot of that there as well. So like, as savage as that moment is, right? Like you see me headbutting dude and this and that. But as soon as that referee stops it, everybody was just like wanting to hug one another and like, that was freaking awesome. Thanks, man. And
It's so
there was
wild because like
maybe one.
I saw
one
a
or
guy
two of
with
them.
like a full on bite mark on his neck,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you know like
Those girls when they fought, man, those young ladies that fought right after me were in some jujitsu positions, you know, like holding real good, tough positions, and then spitting mouthpiece out so they could bite, and then putting the mouthpiece back in. It was almost disgusting to me on a savage level. Like so no, that's not my thing, right, at all. I've never trained for that. It's not my style of fight. It's not what I enjoy.
And not spoiler alert, there's one point in that fight, and it's actually not a spoiler, where your opponent's fingers were in your mouth, and you could have very easily bit.
Yeah.
You could have bit his fucking fingers off.
Yeah,
if
I
you
came
wanted
home
to.
with I don't know, what was that? His right hand. Then I had like all his finger marks from where he was trying to rip my lower lip off.
Oh, just
I think it looks in the picture like I was trying to bite him, but
Yeah.
he actually had a hold of my face. He was trying to rip my jaw down and off. Yeah. There was very few times that he actually landed like really solid punches in that fight. A lot of it was trying to bite my ear, trying to bite my arm, trying to bite, trying to
fucking your yeah.
sticking his fingers.
There
in
was a
my
Mike
eyes and
Tyson.
stuff.
I mean, it
Yeah.
opened with a Mike Tyson moment,
Yeah.
like straight up.
Yeah, it's so you know what do we say in life, right? There's levels to shit, right? There's levels. If you're really involved in stuff, there's levels to this stuff.
Yeah.
And that all that didn't scare me, didn't make me feel any different about fighting, right? It actually was like, oh, you motherfuckers, there is another level to this shit. Okay, and I wasn't ready for it, so now I want to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I trained so hard for what to do. And when the time came, I'm not happy with what I did. So now I'm going to go back and do it again. Right. You know? So all I can do to one-up myself is do it again. You know?
It's a true test.
People say, dude, go jump out of an airplane. I say, fucking already jumped out of an airplane. It's not that exciting, dude. You know? I need the next thing now. So for me, it's not about chasing the thrill. It's about now, how do I refine my own performance to make it even better and more enjoyable for everybody out there watching it? Not more savage. We've already seen what savage is now, right? How do I go and get a clean, crisp, professional knockout that everybody in the world wants to see?
I know that that's a very big why for you, right? Like why you're doing it.
No, it's not for me. I don't have a why. I know exactly why I'm doing it.
Why are you doing it?
The spiritual journey. It's this whole thing will take me to the next place. I don't know what that is yet, but I'm gonna find it, and I'll know when I get there. You know, so I'm very happy. I'm very content momentarily. Like my life, my wife, my life, my real life. You know what I mean?
Your home
Things
life.
couldn't be fucking any better, dude. and I say that I drive a 2003 Toyota Camry, right, with no hubcaps. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's where I know I've reached a different place. Are my bills paid? Do I have money in the bank? Absolutely. Do I have a lot? Absolutely not. Am I the most content, happy person that I've ever been in my life? Am I in the best shape of my life at 46? Absolutely. Am I the clearest I've ever been? Absolutely. So, you tell a 25-year-old guy, like, dude, I'm in the best shape of my life right now. And they're like, no way, dog, you had to have been blah, blah, blah. Nope. You know why? Because I was drinking.
That's a
The
huge
whole fucking time
part
I
of
was
it,
a
man.
world champion,
Yeah.
the whole time I created and became that whole young man, I was drinking the whole time. So I was never really the best version of myself.
Man,
Think
it's so
about it. Just something
crazy.
as simple as that, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Well, it's so readily available, and we're just as guilty. I got a fucking full bar over here,
but you are
But
adhering
I'm
to
learning. I'm learning. I'm more content when I have these conversations when I'm not drinking.
right. Well, and I'm strong enough. People say, "Oh, am I okay to drink this in front of you?" Like, what am I, an asshole, dude?
Yeah.
No, this is my choice. I can drink if I want to. Nobody's stopping me, right? And
Right.
it's not like if I have one drink, I'm all of a sudden be a raging alcoholic. But what's the point in that one drink? It doesn't make any sense to me. So it's sitting right there doesn't bother me at all.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm a pot smoker still to this day, right? Proud,
Yeah.
trusted, and true, right? My wife is like, you're going to Europe for a week. You're going to be all right? It was the best time of my life, dude. I was by myself. I was so clear. I was at 67 feet in elevation, which people over there don't understand, right? Why are you asking
Right.
what the altitude is here, right? There is no altitude. Coming straight from Denver. I
Yeah.
felt like I was on top of the world.
Fuck yeah.
I didn't, you know what I mean? I do this by choice. I do everything I do by choice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if that adds
Fucking
to
rad.
it all.
No,
but
it does, man.
It's-
It's the same reason that I have this podcast and
Yeah.
that I drive a 2004 Toyota Tundra and like same shit, dude.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
I'd rather be happy in life and whole, right? Like,
Fuck
I'm,
yes.
I'm rich with life.
You
I've never
can
have
take
had
all that
before,
money to
dude.
the fucking bank and
Yeah,
deposit
dude.
it, bro, because it
No.
doesn't bring you any. It brings you. It honestly brings you more problems.
Yeah.
But I got to ask this, and you
Yep.
can just tell me to fuck off. What is the money like to fight for that? You don't have to exact
Yeah.
numbers, but like,
Yeah.
is it?
Let me put it to you this way. The sponsorships was absolutely phenomenal, right? Their brand, Ascari brand that affiliates with
That's
King
what
of the
you're wearing
Streets.
right
Yeah,
now, yeah.
that's one of the shirts I have on today. Extremely nice clothing. Yeah. Everything in America's cotton, dude.
Yeah.
I never really noticed that. Like, even when I'm a guy like you, right? I get dressed up, put a pair of boots on, a pair of jeans, and a nice T-shirt. That's cotton, right? Anyway, I'm dressed up. I'm ready to
Yeah.
go. And
You need to take that.
no,
you can.
no, that's okay. And but what was it? Oh, so there, there's different quality, different style, right?
Yeah.
You realize not everything's made in China over there, right?
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
So the small differences. So the clothing, taking great care of me. I was actually supposed to have a brand new shirt on. They sent me an additional package, but UPS didn't deliver it properly yesterday. So I told them.
Oh, that's what
I'm
you're
coming
wearing
on
now. Yeah.
No, it was another shirt.
Oh,
They
okay.
actually sent me one with like an AK-47, a real hardcore T-shirt.
Yeah.
But I reached out to them after. I said, I'm going on this podcast, send me a shirt or anything. Oh, yeah, we'll send you. So I was supposed to have a different shirt on today, but like I said, willing to take care of me, professional on that level. The money, what I'll say is, number one, I would have done the shit for free because it was not about money anymore, right? Like, I'm past that. And then I had to entrust that these people would pay me, right?
Yeah. Fuck. I mean, it's.
Who the fuck am I going to tell them, right? I'm by myself,
Well, a lot of
So-
times what happens in situations like this, not that I've ever been
we
in
talked
any
about pride
seated
earlier
deals.
as well.
Yeah,
We've seen it,
Well, and even in rock and roll, like one of my positions was a tour manager, and you would go to one of my jobs was to go settle with the club owner or the bar owner or wherever you were playing at the end of the night. And it was always a fucking rotten deal. Like the bar sales weren't that good, so we can't pay you this much. This wasn't that good, so there's always some sort of excuse to fucking basically try to rob you of money. And then there was a very few people out there that would just be like, they were good people.
Yeah.
It's a fucking seedy business, man. And it's owned by a lot of seedy fucking people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's good to hear that.
They came through. So
Yeah.
I had to entrust, because they pay you a couple days after, too. So I was already back in the U.S. when I got paid, I had to trust this whole situation.
Fucking A, man.
And they notified me when the payment was through, and I checked that account, dude, and I was like, "What? Can we go now? Like, I'll go back right now and fight again."
It was not good.
It was like 4 times better than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's not.
Do they pay winner and loser, or is there bonuses, or like what?
The winner only. From what I've heard, you know,
Okay.
kind of like a Dana White thing, right? You know, you put on a good show, and even though you lost, they'll throw you a little bit, right? A little bone, to, you know, keep you grinding, which is great. But you're signing on to this that if you lose, is nothing. So you're making that whole trip for absolutely nothing. You know, there was a moment
They're
in there.
covering travel costs at that point?
Yeah, they covered my travel costs, my full international travel, there and back, full hotel, meals, everything while I was gone.
Okay, so business stuff aside,
Yes,
that's
sir.
good. I'm glad you got paid for this. Even though you would have done it for free. I think you almost,
I didn't
the level of
expect it.
competition, you would almost have to be willing to do it for free. I think,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
right? You have to have that mindset. What is, so you get over there, are they taking you, what is the process like, man?
Yeah.
Because it's an underground fucking thing. Like, there's, you
So,
have
like,
to know somebody to be involved with this thing, right?
Yeah, so once I like, you know, we'll just say I grind the crack enough, you know, I just kept grinding, chipping away at it. And, you know, like you were saying on the website there, they have the application to fight if you want, you know. So anybody can fill it out, you know what I mean? But if they're going to respond to you is one thing, how solid they feel you are is another thing, because obviously they need to keep this as quiet as possible. This is what keeps them alive. It's not that they're...
I'm sure that there's a part of it you have to have
Yeah.
a level of trust, right?
100%.
Because
Well-
they're probably, you're dealing with infiltration and all
I'll
kinds
say
of
like,
shit.
yeah, you don't... I didn't have a conversation with them until I got there, right? This is all online.
Oh, really?
So you're just texting
So you
back
flew,
and forth. And
you trusted that.
that I
This
showed
is
up and there was
actually
going to
gonna
be
be
somebody
happen.
to pick me up in
Wow,
Europe when I got
man.
there. Yeah. So, I mean, I got off the plane. I messaged them directly, and before I even got my luggage, your driver's outside. But yeah, got there, messaged them, you know, getting off the plane, and before I even had my luggage, they messaged me back and said your driver's outside. So I showed up, I'm sure looking like an American. And yeah, a guy from across the parking lot called my name. And yeah, it's very much like you would think, like maybe like Italian Job, the movie. Very high-end European vehicles. Everybody was with an air of gangsterism, but very respectful. My driver was definitely one of the guys involved with the organization, so he picked me up, asked me if I needed food, asked me if I needed anything, did I have a good flight, the whole regular shebang. Drove me straight to my hotel, dropped me off. Said about 5 or 6 hours, we'll reach out to you, and we're going to do a promo shoot. I was actually there a day earlier than all the other fighters because I came so far. So they were cool even about that. They said, you know, you want to come out this day? I said, man, if you can give me an extra 24 hours so that I can recover.
Get
and
acclimated.
be Not
Not to mention, like, if you
it's
get
just the travel,
a
dude, was.
flight delay or something. Oh, dude. Traveling
was.
is the fucking worst,
I
bro.
traveled 13 plus hours to get there, and it was 15 plus coming home because of the headwind. So it was a fucking journey, man.
Gnarly.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so they dropped me off at the hotel, let me rest for some hours, you know, kind of let the lag wear off. And later that night, they reached out, asked me to be in the lobby at a certain time. And over there right now, it's the summer solstice. So like Alaska, sun rises at 4 a.m., doesn't set till about 11:30 at night completely. Starts going on about 10. So it was beautiful, like 70 degrees. I mean, it was amazing there. Really beautiful time of year. I'd hate to see it in the winter, I think. But anyway, pick me up. And then the second part of the not really knowing, you know, you go downstairs. I meet 2 guys in the lobby that are affiliated with the company. And they take me out to they had some spots in town that were kind of gritty looking, you know, for a cool promo shoot. So that was my first conversation, shaking hands with these guys.
Is there weight classes? Is it a tournament thing? Are you only fighting once?
I'm
Like,
actually-
there's so many. Like, I don't
okay.
understand how.
So let's just
Sorry,
add to
dude.
the allure of
Yeah.
it. So when this all started, I kind of forgot all about this. I'm glad you mentioned it. But so when this all started, and I'm in talks about weight classes and this and that, and I was going to be, initially I was, when I started this journey, if we can detract for just a sec, was the week of Thanksgiving last year. Sunday before Thanksgiving is when I quit drinking beer. So I've been completely sober since then. And that's kind of what started this journey. I was 256 pounds at that time in November. So I was 220. I planned on fighting at like 220. So I got myself down to like 225 was my first diet goal to see if I could actually start getting myself in shape to go back there. So they responded to me and said, well, we're trying to do a first time thing here. Like on my card, they had the first girl fight. That's the first time they've ever done that. So they said, we want to have a 4-man tournament and you'll fight twice in one night. Obviously, your first opponent, you know who he is. That's the guy you were going to fight anyway. Your second guy will be one of the other 2 guys in the tournament. Are you willing to come over here and fight twice in one night? And I said, absolutely, anything it takes. So what I ended up finding out a little bit later on is that they asked the other 3 guys, do you guys want to do this too? And they all said, fuck no. We're not fucking fighting twice in one night. So it came back to me, same opponent, just one guy now. So it kind of took the stress off of me a little bit. That
well, they do some crazy shit too. I thought I saw
2-on-2. Yeah, they do some wild stuff. 2-on-1s, depending on sizes. Like as long as everybody agrees to it, they're completely okay with it. So when I went over, I left here, I was like 222, 223. And by the time I hit the friggin' scale, man, I was like 205.5, which is 93.5 kilos. He was 100 kilos on the dot at 220 pounds. And I was like, shit, he's a lot taller than me, and he was a lot heavier.
He's a big dude.
It's just like it is in the street. Like you say, man, you don't get to pick your opponents sometimes, dude. So, yeah, no.
But they're not holding you to a certain weight.
No.
Are they matching you up?
Yes. So our agreement was on 220. That was it. Yeah. It's on the size.
But you don't have to make weight. You can come in at... What if you come over 220? Is that...
They said to just let everybody know they didn't want anybody stressing about the weight cuts, and they didn't want anybody sitting in saunas and crap because they wanted you to be your purest form.
So much more healthier, man.
Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of professionalism to it. You just got to realize where you're fighting.
It's like the people that are running it.
They really do
They
care.
fucking know. They know the fight game.
Mm-hmm. Very good understanding of it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Or the fight sport, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they definitely mentioned some people when I was there that are very big name, like people that they're friends with and associated with. So I'm sure they are coming from the money side of things, you know.
Okay.
A little different. But
yeah.
It's it was just like I said, I mean the getting there, then the weight, you know, changing like that. But with the way they even handled that, are you still okay? Are you still good to go? I'm like, yeah, this is what I came to do. So I'm sure there's a lot of other people that have been there.
So they gave you the option to
absolutely
to bow out.
Absolutely.
If you,
yeah, no, I
you think there's any implications if you do with
I'm
who's
sure,
running it?
Yeah, I'm sure you might not be able to get home so easy or something, but I already had all my tickets. Like everything's paid for, you know, so it's not like I couldn't have got home. But yeah, they're very much like by the book, secretive in that sense of not secretive like nobody can know. Secret as in like professionalism. Like obviously people there where I was in Europe know who these guys are. I had one interaction actually when they came to pick me up at the hotel to go film my promo video that night. They asked me to be in my sponsored tracksuits that they had, you know, sent me and stuff like that. Well, when I came into the lobby, they were both in tracksuits as well, just both in black. I was in white. And when we left the hotel, we're just walking across the street to get into the vehicle. And when we came out in the Ascari gear, these couple guys that were walking by, it was kind of like you seen like a couple pro ball players walk out of something and you're just walking by and they kind of turn around like, oh. And the two guys that I was with, one of them said something in a foreign language, you know, and kind of barked at him. I attributed it to saying like, hey, fucking mind your business, fucking keep moving, is what he was telling them. But they were trying to ask them something about, is there an event coming up? We see you're here now.
Oh, they wanted to be part of it. Yeah.
The other guy immediately went to the door, opened the back door. He said, Jason, like, put me in the vehicle and guarded the door. I was like, what the hell just happened? That was wild. So they're obviously fans, but they were more or less telling them to shut the fuck up because it's about to happen, but nobody can know when type of thing. And they shut it off real quick. I was like, oh, okay. So that was like just one of the only real like serious interactions I saw, but everything else was.
So you get in, you have a day of rest, and then you go to a promo night.
Yes, sir.
Or is it? So
Yeah,
is
we
it
did,
like a weigh-in type situation?
No. We just
or-
went to like an open parking garage, and they filmed me just kind of warming up, walking around. You know, that old staircase in the clip.
Yeah, there's a
you know,
production value
wanted it.
to this, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you take the shirt off, do that? Kind of like a modeling thing, you know, like you do a fight promo. Very similar. So did that. They, you know, we walked back over to the vehicle. They're like, you want us to get you food? You need anything? Nope, I'm good. They brought me back to the hotel. We'll reach out to you tomorrow for the weigh-ins and the face-off, and then we're kind of off and rocking after that, you know. So
is it one day a promo or filming promo, then the next day is a weigh-in, and it's a full weigh-in day, like type of deal, face-off type deal?
Face-off.
Kind of like the UFC weigh-in?
Yeah.
And then the next day is the fight?
Yeah. So, though the one thing that was different for me was a lot of the times they don't, like the weigh-in will be not at the place where you're going to fight, so you don't really know. For me, we were lucky enough that when we showed up to the facility where they were having this weigh-in, it was the same place we fought at. So when we walked in, I saw the cage there, and that was kind of like the first, oh shit, this is real. You know, like there's the cage and there's
So
the big,
for listeners that haven't seen this, and I encourage you, go and follow Jason on Instagram. Pull up his Instagram real quick so we can drop the handle if they're too lazy to open the show notes. So there's a direct link in the show notes right now, but it's the Dragon Jason Lee on Instagram. Go and give him a follow. You brand new to
Appreciate you guys.
Instagram.
Yeah. Last couple of weeks.
And you can see more about it, and then you can link from there from King of the Streets. You should almost. I'll talk to you about that off mic. But definitely go give him a follow because you're trying to build a following and tell your story. And I appreciate you coming on here first.
Absolutely.
But back to the fight. This is crazy, man. This is fucking wild. This is like, I don't know.
I almost have to talk
I don't know
about
who
it,
I'm going to bring on next, dude. It's like, this is so fucking.
I love it.
It's
I love
insane. No, I love it too, man. Thank
Yeah.
you for saying yes to this.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing it.
And
Especially your whole backstory, because I think the way that we've broken this down leading up to this point, because I thought about opening with this and I was like, no, there's got to be.
Yeah.
So if you're still listening to this fucking thing, dude, which I don't know how you could not be, yeah, we're diving into it now, and I think there's a bit more of an understanding of why and stuff like that. So, so you do the weigh-in night or the face-off night. You're seeing the cage for the first time. What I was getting at is this is a concrete floor.
Unfinished concrete.
This is
so they actually tell you finished concrete, unfinished concrete.
Really?
In America, we don't know there's a difference. There is, especially when you're fighting on it.
Fuck yeah. If you're shirtless, like, yeah.
My right knee looked like I got bit by like a baby bull shark. It was literally the hole around my kneecap was perfectly skinned off, and it took like 2 weeks for that to heal, and that's just from pushing off on my knees so that I could do what I was doing, just to gain traction in there. So
like,
there's a lot of small.
What are the implications on gear that you can wear? Can you wear whatever? Can you wear wrestling shoes?
No.
Is there?
You can. So they. Let's get to that actually. So the day of the event, you show up. Your driver comes and picks you up. Obviously, majority of the time we don't know where we're going, but I didn't know where we were going after about 2 streets anyway. I just knew we were headed back to where we were the day before.
Yeah, are they like blacking you out? Like making you any sort of thing like that? No. Okay.
No. And it's like the country I was in they were so cool. Like the people were so normal, so it would have been, we would have stuck out. But, so get to the venue though, and driver's like, all right, you know the deal, go in that door again. So I go in the door, and I get in the door, and there's 2 dudes in like Chechen masks, full tactical gear, flak vests, guns, the whole 9 yards. And it's
their security, or
I don't know what the fuck they are, but they were scary. And I've been
on their website. There's a guy in the fucking middle of the ring with an AK-47. At one point.
They're ready. They're ready to protect us and fight it out. It's you get that feeling. We're not in danger. They're there. Those guys are there to protect us from something.
So they're the security force.
Yeah.
Because that was another thing. It's like, what if the patrons decide to go fucking crazy?
Yeah.
It's like,
they got. I think,
there's got to be somebody keeping checks and balances, right?
Yeah, it seemed like everybody knew their place. It was.
Yeah.
It's a different culture over there too. It's not like America. We just accepted this is the way it is, and it's not.
we live in so many guardrails until you've been in a third world country and have experienced. There's no police. There's no rescue coming to save you. Nope. Sometimes the police are the bad guys. Like,
brother, I live in Aurora, and my wife calls it the Siren City. Because you can hear sirens, whether it's fire or that. It may not be anything serious all the time, but always sirens. I was there for 6 days, and I heard one siren, and it only stuck out to me because it reminded me of the Italian Job. Because the sound of the European siren is that
so different.
Yeah, and I was like. But then it hit me. I'm like, I've been here this long, and that's the first siren I've heard. You got to be kidding me.
Right.
Not like America, man. It's just everything is different, and it was so cool at the same time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's pretty.
Yeah, it was wild, but
I'm pretty jaded to it because I've gotten to go all over the world so many times.
Yeah.
But it's different, man.
Yeah.
It's different. It made me respect what we have here so much more, and also, there's a different level of respect in those countries that are older for some reason.
Yeah.
There just is.
Yeah.
I think in America we live with all these guardrails that what I'm getting at is the average American is very, very comfortable unless you come from a military background or experience some fucking law enforcement or something like that. Those guys seem to have a pulse on the beat to like, well, I better stay ready because the wheels could come off at any fucking time, right? Like,
where I grew up in New England, there's a place called Portland, Maine. It's like a seafront town, really
exactly
pretty, cobblestone streets, real old school stuff. Where I was at over there was that. It was like cobblestone and waterways and the buildings. Like I walked around, I was like a friggin' nerd dude with my camera out, and I would just walk into a square and sit and just sit there for like 20 minutes.
Did they tell
and
you,
just watch.
like, because you got recognized in the sponsored gear, did they tell you, like, don't go out in this
Good
if you're
question,
going out
actually.
on your
So
own? Or?
that happened when we were headed out to go do that promo. So on the way back, I'm like, well, it's, summertime, right? So am I cool to walk around? You guys are going to drop me back off, but can I just go walk, And they're like, you? Oh, yeah, you're fine. Like, some spots here are questionable, but because you look like you do and you're just assertive, nobody will mess with you. They'll leave you alone.
Right.
I was like, oh, okay. And they mentioned something about where they were located over there that bombings are more like a big deal rather than like street stuff. Like we were thinking about getting shot or stabbed outside late at night.
Oh, no, it's a fucking car bomb
They're
going
having
off or some
bombings
shit.
and big time stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. So,
It's
honestly,
a roll of the dice
I'm
at
sitting
that
in my hotel after that thinking, well, I'll never know if the whole friggin' building just falls down and
it's
we're all
crazy,
gone,
man. It's
but
crazy.
they're fighting a different battle.
I've been staying in like Colombia and had fucking bomb dogs walk into my room. Like there's no.
You're like, it's
okay.
a different realization, right?
Yeah.
Well, whereas I think in America, we think we're all untouchable.
Yeah, it's a false sense of safety that we have here very much. And I think,
Well, they said to me when I asked that question, they said, well, like in America, you're okay to walk around. And I said, but America's this whole woke culture now. I made the joke to them to see if they picked up on it. And I said, over there, they got this whole woke culture now. Everybody's, And the dude driving turned around. He looked at me with the funniest expression, dead serious. And he says, brother, everybody deserves to get punched in the face every once in a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, I like these guys. These are my people. I see it. Just under that same, be professional, right? But there should be a line.
And there should be repercussions.
You got to
for the
know
way
that you
get
get whacked every once in a while.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh,
like
it's
everybody
fucking
should live in
crazy.
fear, but you got to know it's possible.
Yeah.
So to keep walking you through, like showing up there, so I got these two dudes with full tacked out gear, follow us. We go into a room off to the side, and they explain to me they're going to pat me down, check my shoes, check my bag, and all that. They start this off by saying, do you have any guns or knives on you? And I kind of chuckled. I said, no, I'm from America, man. I don't have anything. And they said, no, it's okay if you do. We're just going to take it from you, and we'll give it back to you after the show's over. Oh yeah, we're in a different country now. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. So they do the whole professional thing. They pat me down, this and that. It's like a dead serious vibe though, while this is going on. And
dude, and I got to bring something up. Like, I don't want to stop, but like, you did this by yourself. You just mentioned that your coaches. That's fucking wild, dude. Like,
I remember when I walked into that diagnostic and reception unit in prison, and remember thinking the exact same thing. I'm by my motherfucking self. 50 Cent, the rapper, said it one time. He said, who the fuck was I going to run home to and ask for help? I'm the only motherfucker, right? I didn't have anybody to run home to save me. So I'm going to get this shit done myself. And that's the way I've always approached it, So this was, again, one of those situations, man, is just,
1 minute.
It was like when I first seen the
another
cage.
point to where you're past and a bad decision or a bad roll of the dice has forged you to go through a moment like that. That's...
Well, it's just like fighting in a cage or in a ring in a sanctioned bout, right? My friends would ask, like, you're not scared of going in there? Doc, first of all, we have gloves on. Second of all, there's a referee ready to save both of our lives if anything even gets questionable. Right. Like, this is the safest thing you could possibly do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these guys, the real serious guys, they pat me down. They do the whole 9. All right, brother, you're good. As soon as we leave that office, they take me out into another area. And then the whole vibe changed to like really nice, super smiley, professional, handed me a paper, like a shopping bag with a handle. Honey, Celsius drinks, water, either way.
Yeah. No, we'll make sure. I just want to make sure. Yeah.
But yeah, they just took very good care. Like anything else you need, just let us know. You're into that corner over there. Make yourself at home. And that was it. And then the whole event just kind of gets plugging away after.
So are you in there with all the other fighters and stuff at that point? Like, is your opponent in there?
No, they separate it like a sanctioned bout. You got your blue
like
corner,
the
your red
UFC,
corner. So they were off on that side of this place we were in, and we were off on that side, and the whole meeting place was in the middle with the cage, and they had a DJ off to the side, and it was bumping some real loud music, and they set.
Do they stop the music during the fight? Mm-hmm. So it's more of like a walkout.
Yeah, it's like it's a lot again, like Pride. Mm-hmm. The Japanese crowds didn't cheer during fights. It's not like American crowds where everybody's spastic and going insane the whole time. So it was very quiet. But it did help me in the fight, though, because you don't feel anything, if that sounds weird, right? But like punching him, when I was on the ground and I know I was landing like some good, body, head stuff, couldn't feel anything. So
because of adrenaline? Or?
I'm sure it is. Yeah, 100%, right? But
well, you also can't see much.
Yeah,
not to fucking poke fun at you.
But literally poke. Right.
Yeah.
But but so hearing the crowd, when you land a good punch, I was like, oh, okay, I'm landing. I'm doing work. I'm working. I'm in here. I'm good.
Yeah.
So that was just the reassurance that, okay, I'm in here. I'm alive. I'm doing my job, But going back to what I said a little bit earlier about my daughter, like there was a moment in there for you guys, whenever you do get to watch the fight, you'll see a moment in there when it's pretty close to over. We're pretty close to the cage, and I got my head resting on his chest. And that was the one moment. I've had it in every single fight. I'm sure everybody does, whether or not they want to admit it, where you're like, well, this fucking sucks, and nobody would know or nobody would hold me accountable if I just stopped, quit right now, That was that moment for me right there where I was like, dude, this is fucking insane. What am I doing? I'm in a foreign country. You bring all this into thought just that quick. And there was a moment when I was like, I could just tap right now, right? It'd be over. And I thought about my daughter for a moment. And I just remember thinking,
take as much time as you need, brother.
I just always tell my daughter that you don't have to be perfect. You just can't quit. So that was my moment to teach my daughter a lesson. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about me winning the fight. It was just overcoming that moment. So like, as you saw, after that moment, I had to turn it up even a whole different level. Then I knew I was capable of.
That was the turning point in the fight?
Yeah.
Because you were in a bad position, like
yeah,
pretty right out of the gate. You could tell that I mean, I don't want to put words in you, but as a spectator, it felt like you didn't fully know what you had signed up for. It was a bit of a shock value,
Absolutely.
right? That first
Absolutely.
minute of the fight, and then all of a sudden it fucking is like a switch flipped, and that was that switch that you just.
Yeah, that was.
Bro, that's
what do they say? Like country boys say, you got to downshift sometimes.
Yeah.
Downshift this bitch, put it in a 4-wheel, and let's go. You know, that was that moment.
man, that's fucking.
Yeah.
That's incredible, Jason, man. That's fucking heavy, bro.
So yeah, and it literally, like my son, you know, I talked to him about it after, and I was like, you know, man, you've seen me do it a lot. You know what I said that time was about, you know, your sister, and yeah, fuck that. I'm not coming home with a fucking loss.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Is the pay-per-view live?
No.
No.
Has
your son watched it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Once. Yeah. He was like,
How hard was it? What did he say to you after that? Like, what does your family think of this?
So my father hasn't watched it. My daughter hasn't watched it. My wife's watched it once with me.
I don't think I want to watch it again, honestly, after watching it the one time.
No, I'm cool with it too. I'm like, it served a purpose, right? That's what I say.
Yeah.
I even said it to my head coach again. You know, it's not about the fight coach. Like, I understand, like, the people that are really on the level. That
Yeah,
are
what the
true-
fuck? I mean, what are they saying to you? Are they saying, like, go do this? Or what's the...
Yeah, so my... yeah, so I've got 3 different coaches. Coach Jacob at Genesis, he's obviously was with me throughout my young career. You know, he's been my guy the whole freaking time. I told him I wanted to come back. I told him what my goals were, and he said, well, come in and let's work together a little bit. You haven't even hit mitts in 10 years. It literally had been that long since I'd done anything for myself, you know? And at 256 pounds, I was like, So about 30 seconds later, I realized that I got a lot of work ahead of me. And about 4 or 5 weeks went by. I met with him once a week and just got some mitts in. And after 5 weeks, it was like 4 or 5 weeks, he said, I didn't, be honest with you, dude, I didn't think you could fucking do it. He said, but you've got my full grace to push for the rest of this camp if that's what you want to do, and you have a home here, and we'll get you ready. So I knew I had done something if I proved to my mentor that, you know, he was willing to take me back at an old age and, you know, way off base, you know. I have another coach, Zach Hare. He's out of Denver Modern Jiu-Jitsu. He's been around with me in the industry for 20 plus years, you know.
Yeah.
And I just said, man, I just need a kickboxing coach to move around with, you know. Jake's more or less my just striking bare knuckle guy. So he was willing to take me in, and met with him once a week as well, outdoors. I said, I just want to acclimate myself to fighting outside because I thought I was going to have to be outdoors as much as possible. I don't want to be on the mats. I don't want shoes on. So he took me on as well once a week. And then I have another coach over at A1 Boxing, Orlando Lopez. And I kind of added him on late because I've never had a conditioning coach. I've always handled it myself. And I was like, yeah, this might be something I want to trust to somebody else to take control of. So I started to meet with him once a week as well. And that's pretty much what got me ready. So I would meet with my coach, Zach, on Mondays. I would spar on Tuesdays. I'd have conditioning on Wednesdays. And I'd meet with Jake for my striking on Fridays. And everything else was just on me, you know, either running or getting myself back in shape and getting myself conditioned. So without those 3 guys, man, like I would have never made it. You know, I wouldn't even have scratched the surface of being ready if I thought I could have done it on my own. I would have been crazy. So
They must really love you to take that on, dude. I think,
Dude.
you know what I mean? Or have faith in you, you know?
I was a little worried, like, you know, after it's all said and done, right? Because that is a different style of fight to watch. And even if you are a fighter, that's not for everybody's cup of tea. Yeah. So they called me like a week after my mentor there, Jake. And he just said, you know, I watched it and I showed it around the gym. And he said, I only got one thing to say to you, really, man, is that you have literally set yourself apart from everybody else. He goes, I don't know how you did it, but you've done it. He goes, and I'm fucking proud of you. So I left it at that I've done my job. I did it the right way.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's more about the journey than it is about the fight. So
Yeah. I'm sorry. I asked like 4 questions at once.
you're all good.
I mean, obviously, with as much investment and time that you've put into being a father, and after just telling that story of that switch flipping during the fight. Your kids obviously mean the world to you.
Oh, absolutely.
You man.
Yeah, I'm the most like emotionally set person when it comes to my family.
Yeah.
You know, I'm strong as fuck, dude. You mentioned my kids or my wife, I'll cry immediately.
How did they take it?
My wife, dude, I sat down with her.
I mean, she had to be fucking scared to death, dude. I would,
brother, I did this one. I
Yeah.
watching them on YouTube, you know, and I'm like, how the fuck am I going to present this to my wife, right? You know?
what was that?
So
Holy
she gets home from
shit.
work one night, and I said, babe, you know, I want to show you something on the internet. She's like, all right. And we sit right down in the living room, and I key it up to the TV, and I'm sitting over here, and she's sitting over there, and we finished watching whatever one I pulled up, just kind of searched one. She looked right across at me, and she said, so this is what you want to do? And I was like, yeah, I just didn't really know how to break it to you. You know, you're going to be okay with that. And she just looked at me. She said, I've known you my whole life. You know, she's like, and I believe in you. You're the strongest person I know. And I know where your heart rests. She goes, I know you've struggled a lot, you know, without really knowing your path. She goes, so if this is going to make you come full circle, then I'm all about it.
Man,
So
what
through
a
that,
woman.
through
Shout
that, she
out.
got a sober husband, and I'm so fucking spot on, and everything now is just crazy, you know. And it's not that there was problems before, but even just taking that little bit of outside, you know, nonsense away, cleared up everything as well, gave me a new focus, and made me that much more effective, you know, to be a family man and a father. So, yeah, my wife and I, we got a pretty crazy story, dude. We actually went to elementary school together.
Are you serious? So she's known you for a fuck
So I'm
through
gonna-
all this shit. dude.
I'll digress real quick
Wow.
here. So my wife was actually born at Denver General Hospital,
Okay.
right here in Denver, Colorado. And a couple months, year after she was born, her family is from New England. Her dad's from like Van Buren, Maine, way up north by Canada. He chose to take the family back home. But my wife's mother and father were both world-renowned chefs and met cooking here in Colorado at Red Rocks, at the restaurant there. They, in turn, had my wife move back to New England, where I was born. We went to the same elementary school together. She's 1 year older than me. So we didn't know each other, per se, that we can remember. I'm sure in this tiny little town we lived in, we probably played on the elementary yard together. And then I moved away. Obviously came to Colorado, but every summer I would still go back to see my mom or see family for the week. End up meeting her through one of my buddies that had always lived back home. So every summer she was like my summer fling thing, you know, for a couple years. The summer I left, I had bought that brand new car, came back a couple months later, ended up in prison here in Colorado. So we lost touch. Some years went by, and obviously things happened, and we reached back out, got back in touch through the internet, and that's why I moved back to Maine, was to be close to her, and started our whole thing together again. It's wild how she was born here, I was born there, but yeah.
Fucking crazy. man.
So yeah, we reconnected like
There's a lot of
6
correlations
years
in
ago,
your
and-
story that's fucking wild coincidence, man.
Yeah, yeah. And my wife's a nut just like I am, you know, East Coast girl through and through,
Yeah.
loud, crazy, has fun, but solid, dude. You know, like I found a solid one, like the one that lets me be me and also gives me the energy to like go out there. You know, like when I'm leaving to go on a run at 6 a.m. with nothing but swimming trunks on and a fucking pair of tennis shoes, and all I hear is, I'm proud of you, babe. While I'm out the house, she'll go out on the porch. Proud of you. Because she knows I don't have to do this. I know I don't have to do this, but I choose to. So I might as well do it to the best of my ability. So with that backing behind me, I'm unstoppable.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. So
That's fucking rad,
I
man.
love you, mama.
That's rad. What? It's incredible that you have that support, man. Could you imagine doing that without it?
No.
Yeah.
No. Even like, you know, I think one thing that made it a little easier, maybe the trip and travel for me too, was for like the first year and a half of our relationship was pretty much on the phone and online until I moved back home, you know, and then we were there face to face again. So like the traveling and stuff and not having anybody there with me, being able to talk to her on like a time difference, we were kind of already used to that. Granted, we've been together as a family now for years, but I was like, oh, I can remember when we just could talk here and there and the time difference and whatever, you know what I mean? So that made it a little bit easier as well. Just some past life experience, being able to bring it back and implement it to what I was dealing with at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had to be I mean,
Sick to her stomach, bro.
me knowing you, I've only known you for 3.5 hours now. I'm going to be nervous for your next one, man. I can't imagine what it felt like for her,
Yeah.
your son, or something.
She's like super strong, dude, and I see like start
fucking
to,
rad, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the other things that was cool about this one is, being more mature, being older, right? Getting ready for fights when I was young was a lot of emotional. Getting myself there, talking myself into a rage or into, the music was a big portion for me when I was younger, getting yourself ramped up to something you like listening to. But being more mature now, having everything else that's supposed to be in place was truly in place. I didn't have to force anything to get ready. And it was like probably 2 weeks before the fight, I was sitting outside having coffee with her, and I'm like, a little nervous. Like, we're getting pretty close here, and I'm wondering if the dragon is really going to poke his head again. Like, I mean, I could train all I want, and if this is just me now, this is what I got to deal with. What happens if that person that I need to come out doesn't come out, And it was a big worry for me because I was just so calm through everything. I was like, oh, this is what it is now. And then now that it's all done, right, and I get to watch myself go do the job, it's like, I was just so there.
You look like you were in your moment in the walkout. I know, like, in that first minute of the fight, it didn't feel that way. But during the walkout and stuff, I was just like, that is one it's super gnarly environment, man.
Mm-hmm. That's a
the
lot. The
level of energy that's there has got to be like nothing else.
Yeah. I would attribute it to, like, being a special forces guy, right? And you're in that plane or that helicopter, and we're about to jump, right? And you got 30 seconds and everybody lights go off and you're getting ready to go out of that plane into an enemy territory, and you have no fucking clue what's on the ground, right? Or if you're going to make it to the ground.
But you were like solid inside,
dude.
Like,
I was
like
all I wanted to do was lock horns with them, because then everything else goes away.
Right, you're in it at that point.
Seeing me and tapping myself and stretching a little is just me saying, "Fucking get me there, dude! Like, just fucking come on." Because as soon as we touch, then it all goes away and everything happens.
From what I remember from watching it, it seems like it's pretty much the walkout. They close the cage. There's no fucking announcers. There's no fucking rock and roll lighting. There's no fucking, it's a warehouse environment. Really cool fucking setup. Mm-hmm. But it seems like they just get pretty much right to business, man. Like, and that's got to be a good thing as a fighter. I can't imagine what it's like to be the guy to walk out in a UFC event. And I've been to a couple and know some guys that work in production. There's a whole production value, and then
if you're not checking out the Mountainside Podcast on YouTube, you absolutely should be. If you like the content that we create here and you want to help support the podcast, please take a moment, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that notification bell.
the walkout, and then being on the other side of that, I would want to be the last guy that walks out. But I think with this sort of environment, it's probably got to feel pretty good just to get after it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, I think I just really had adopted knowing that I was only there to do a job. TVs and spotlights and fucking signing T-shirts and hugging babies and shit. That was when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
Right? My working with the kids, they already know who I am, right? So when I showed up this time, it was just to fucking be a savage and get my job done and come home.
Does this feel, because you fought at so many different levels for different organizations, to me, looking at it now and in your perspective and after talking to you and knowing your background, does this feel like the purest form of fighting to you?
Yes. 100%, hands down. Yeah. And that's...
for an organization, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, even... Man, I agree. Like, I think it's the most purest form because, like you were saying earlier about street fight, you just don't know anymore. I've been stabbed in street fights, almost fucking died. We skipped over that one just because I got too many friggin' stories, man, and we can get to other ones. But, that's the purest form of fighting because, you know there's no weapon, and you know what you're there to do. It's such a beautiful thing, though, because you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to think about illegal strike. Oh, he's turning his head. I punched him in the back of the head that time. Or, shit, I kicked him on the inside of, inside leg kick. Oh, did I hit his nuts? Or did I kick the cup? All those type of things just go out the
you
window.
almost need to break yourself of those bad habits if you have any sort of fighting background. It's like...
You've seen the position I was in when I was on top there, right before it started getting pretty savage, and I'm throwing normal. Body, head, which is exactly what we're trained. Why wasn't I biting him? Why didn't I bite his stomach? Why didn't I bite his chest? I could have elbowed here. There's a million things we look back and say I could have done.
Yeah.
But now I know going back that there is a different level to this now. Maybe I'm more lethal next time, right? Maybe it doesn't go my way. Maybe it's not as clean. Maybe I get a little tore up. I'm hoping so. I want somebody to... okay, so we both...
Do you know who your opponent is before you go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
sometimes
so
you
that's
don't.
helpful.
Sometimes you won't.
Really?
But yeah. Like when my buddy Leo went over, he didn't know. He just said,
no fucking idea.
No, willing to go and do it anyway. And even like in talking to my opponent since then, he said, did you watch any film on me? I said, there was one BKB and you fought a guy that was like 7 feet tall. I said, I watched her for about 8 seconds. And I went, okay, I've seen enough. And otherwise, like, my wife, I think, researched him a little. And she's, oh, babe, do you want to watch this interview on him? And I'm like, no, because then I normalize him. Because if he is just a fucking normal, everyday guy like me, I don't want to know that until after I defeat him. To me, I need to build him up that he's the scariest savage in the world, and he's trying to kill me.
So now that you've won your first fight with the organization, what does the future look like? Do they have a champion, or is it just a one and done for that night, or is there like how does that work? What's the structure behind the pecking order and that sort of thing?
From my understanding, it's I can go back now anytime I want, as far as like the invite,
You proved yourself.
Yeah, across the board. Obviously there's more than just the fight itself. The professionalism, the secrecy that they appreciate, the allure of it all, which I appreciate as well. I love being part of that. You know what I mean? I'm also proud to say, and I'm going to talk a little shit. You never hear me do that. I'm the first American. I'm the first real, true-blooded American.
Are you?
To go to that country and fight.
Let's fucking go, dude.
So, and I'm going to talk a little shit here. The reason why I'm going to say I'm talking shit is because there's one other American, and his name, I won't even say him. Everybody knows who he is. If you know about my organization, you know who this guy is. But he's a man that lives in another country and does nothing but badmouth my fucking United States of America. So whenever they call me to fight you, dude, I'm going to fucking end you. I love my country and I love my people. So I am the first and the only American that fights for the king of the streets.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, that guy knows who he is. He's going to have to see me someday. Yeah, he's the only guy that threw out hate and shade on this. He's that guy. He's a keyboard warrior, and he fights for them. He's a eye gouging specialist and a piece of shit, that badmouths his own motherland. So I'll see him someday. He'll get his too. But
fuck yeah.
No names need to be mentioned. He knows who he is.
Okay.
Yeah. And you guys will get to enjoy it too when I put him to rest.
How am I going to have a normal conversation with anybody else after this one, dude?
Dude, I gotta go
I need
home.
nothing but like criminals in now.
I gotta go home and fold laundry or something,
I'm going to start calling some of my 1%ers that I know and say, dude, do you want to do a podcast? Because I just,
I need somebody to one up this guy's stories,
Jason, man, let's wrap this up.
Yes, sir.
We're going to have you back.
All right.
Honestly, anytime you want to come back, you're fucking welcome, dude. And
Definitely.
any support that you need.
Yeah.
You have a new friend here, man.
I
is what I'm
appreciate that.
saying, man. Like, I really value everything that you said today and your honesty and what you're doing, man. I understand it so much better now. Before I wasn't sure how this was going to play out, but dude, I'm a super fan.
I appreciate that, man.
And I'm supportive of it. And I didn't know that I would be saying that at the end of this, man. Like,
I appreciate
doesn't mean that I'm not worried about you.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that I won't be supportive of it, but I am, dude. Like, I wish you the best in everything that comes in your future, whether it's in fighting or not. And I think you're a man that follows his heart and fucking his dreams, and has been kicked in the nuts so many times with life where you could have fucking taken a different path or an easier path. And dude, I want to commend you on that, and especially being a father, man. Like, it's fucking cool. And I think you can be an inspiration to so many people, man. So thanks for sharing your story and your honesty. It's a huge thing to me here, and I encourage you to fucking do as many of these things as you can, man, or that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just choose the people that you do it with. Let them tell your story. Don't let them fucking chop it up and edit it up. But start to stop, man.
Well, I'm
You're
gonna go out there and
man,
I'm gonna go impact some more lives. I know that. That's my goal, right? Is to change as many people out there for the better as possible. And if I can get my opponent there, Eric over here, over the pond for some training. I know a couple of them guys want to come to the U.S. and train.
Let's do it.
So if I can go impact and change some more lives, maybe I'll have a partner with me next time I come in.
Absolutely, dude. You're welcome. Yeah,
We'll build
he's
some
welcome.
goal,
I'll do a one-on-one with him. It's a fascinating world. I think to most people that looking at it from the outside, and myself included, is it's fucking. And you even said it. It's savage as fuck, man. There's no discounting that. I still am not fully bought in that I would endorse the organization or anything, because you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know anybody that's running it. Everybody's in fucking masks. Like, I'm not saying that I endorse it or anything like that, but I get why you do it. And I think on an individual level, there's so much more than just the cover of the book or the website or the fucking social media, man. Like, I think that podcasting to me is the truest form of social media and human connection that you can almost have these days, because your phones aren't involved. There's not like, here, let me show you this photo. I mean, we have a little bit of that, but it's very seldom that you lock yourself in a room and get to have this sort of conversation 3 hours in it, uninterrupted. And it's fucking cool, man. So I thank you for doing it, man. I really appreciate you, and you got a new super fan, man. Is there anybody or any upcoming events that you want to shout out or shed a light on or anything?
I'm gonna just.
We didn't even get into your bullying program, and
it's
like,
cool.
let's do that for sure the next time. Or if you want to talk about it right now, we can.
No, I just want to give a little message before we close out, and then if I could, I got a couple partners that are helping me out that are all local guys.
Whatever you want,
business,
dude.
If I could mention them.
Hey, shout out to Chris Camozzi too for
Absolutely,
making this connection.
I will say this real quick. Like, Chris was one of the first phone calls I got when I got back. And now, mind you, Chris and I are not friends per se, right? Like, this isn't a guy that calls me and we want to go out and have barbecue, But Chris reached out to me on Instagram, messaged me, and he just said, "Good on you, dude, for going out and doing what you intended to do." And he said, and by the way, I always thought a headbutt should be legal in MMA anyway. I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, Chris Camozzi, I'm saving that message for the rest of my life.
Dude, he's a champion. In life and friendship. Like, he's become we built our friendship sitting right here at this table, honestly.
Brother, that guy's like accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish, and I just accomplished it on a smaller scale. But UFC, he made it to the big show, right?
Yeah.
Kickboxing, he made it way further than I did in glory, Now with BKFC, right? I'm just honored to know guys like that. And the fact that, dude, I get to sweat and share time and combat with guys like that, it's made me the best person that I can be, So like my story or my message in closing all this out, right, is what I did is super extreme, right? And I search for those moments at all imbas. It's not just about the fighting. It's about my fitness, my nutrition, my approach to life is extreme at all points. And my point that I want to get across is I just challenge everybody out there. Don't have to be as extreme as me, right? The extreme for you could be just the first step, right? Not the 10th step that I'm on. But start somewhere. Challenge yourself. Take the long way to take the trash out rather than taking the most direct route, right? Make it a little more difficult. Things that are that simple start the growth and the challenge within yourself to address the harder path, which will then make you stronger. So that's all I try to encourage people to do is don't choose the easy path. Choose the hard path. You're still going to get through it, but challenge yourself a little bit each day.
Fuck yeah, man.
So if that makes sense.
It makes total sense, man.
It's just people are so fucking scared to do anything anymore. It drives me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
You know? So I got a couple people I just want to shout here if I could.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Take as much time as you want. The mic is yours.
No, absolutely. So I got one buddy of mine, Charlie Ricks. He's actually alumni from the same high school as me, but he's 10 years older than me. So Charlie Ricks has been a big help to me, longtime friend, and he just recently opened something up in Blackhawk. It's called The Nest, and he's doing like those geothermodesic pods.
Okay.
So he's built like a whole acreage out there, and he's about to open this thing up soon for families to come and enjoy Blackhawk and so on and so forth. So just wanted to give a shout out to him. Also, Trent Decker, big time sponsor of mine with Archer Plumbing here in Colorado. If you guys need anything from them, obviously, please reach out. And then lastly is my boy Austin Pruitt. He's also my business partner. I'm going to be opening a gym here soon that maybe we can talk about next time I come on. But he's with the Source Mortgage Group. And like I said, taking care of all your financial needs and all that kind of stuff. If you guys are looking to buy a home, he's currently helping me with my business and to buy a home here soon as well. So those are the only guys I really want to give a shout out to. But everybody else in Colorado, man, everybody that's been a follower of the Bully This program throughout the years, all the kids that have, grown and gone on to do great things, I just want to say thank you all. And let's keep pushing. We'll see everybody on the next one, hopefully.
Hell yeah. Let's go. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for being a part of the show, Jason.
Absolutely. So
Tyler,
thank you guys.
Take us away.
Tyler's the man.
Thanks for listening to the Mountainside Podcast. If you haven't had a chance to do this already, please take a moment, follow, like, subscribe, or rate on whatever platform you catch the Mountainside Podcast at. If you'd like some more information on upcoming episodes, safety tips, access to all of our affiliates, and all the badass discounts that we get here at the Mountainside Podcast, check out themountainsidepodcast.com.